say thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring our invitation. And you're here. This morning, before we proceed, we want to commit this auspicious meeting into the hands of the Almighty God. He's the one who gives wisdom, knowledge, and ability to articulate, to write, to create. No man has that ability if not endowed by the Almighty. And this morning, join me as I welcome Pastor George Akoroma for an opening prayer, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see your faces. I know there might be people that belong to other religious sects, but indulge me, I'm going to pray the way I know how to pray. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for giving us life. Thank you also for giving us the opportunity to be here and in this great country. Father, we pray that the vision of this association will be achieved and will rise to a greater height after this program this year. We pray that our efforts will be rewarded and that everybody that is here today, that their expectations shall be met. Amen. We thank you for grace and for mercy. We give you praise. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akoroma. Thank you. Today we are all here because IAAS has come to stay. This is the third edition. 2017, we launched International Association of African Authors. The British edition was amazing here in Atlanta. Last year, we all came in here too, this same venue, and the meeting was great. Today, we are gathered again to do what? To share ideas, to bring to bear our literary and intellectual prowess. Each and every one of us is a product of wisdom and knowledge. Every work that we have put together, or every work that we are still putting together, or every work that we shall yet put together, has the potentials of doing one thing: transforming minds and destinies. As writers, as authors, as scholars, as intellectuals, as academics, whichever capacity we find ourselves, we do one thing: changing mindset, changing perception. I was privileged to speak with one of our friends here last night while we were still putting things together. And he made an expression that by reading, you can get into the mind of the writer. By reading, you can perceive the understanding and even come to understand the culture of a different environment. By reading. But the amazing part is reading, not just reading, but reading books. Today, the culture is changing by reason of the rising technological advancement. Books or works come in diverse forms right now. You find them in soft copies, you find them in online materials. But we also believe that there is nothing as amazing as holding a book, feeling a book, perceiving the smell of the print. It goes a long way to give you that feel that you are acquiring knowledge. Something is happening to you. You can go to Kindle, Audibles, you can read dozens and thousands of work, but I bet you it's not the same as holding a book in your hands. And so today we are gathered because we have authors who have come to showcase their work. You can feel the book, you can look at the beauty of the designs from cover to cover. You can see the literary and creative mind put in that work. And basically to encourage each and every one of us to do what you have been engraced to do. That being said, the association was created, conceived, nurtured, and is running to help each and every one of us, and more authors and scholars that will join us in the near future to make progress, to continue to write, to encourage us to continue to do what we do to help change our world. Documented materials never die. They are lasting legacies, footprints that cannot be erased. Most of us are products of books that we have read years and years ago. At different times, quotes, lines that made meaning come to mind. You make references. You allude to those information that we are garnered from reading. It's an amazing thing. And that is why this year, the theme of the association is also our desire to ensure and support and help the African child to read. Not just to read, but to read in libraries. We are all products of sitting in that quiet cubicle in a library setting to read. With those inscriptions, silence, creative minds are reading. I still see those pictures when I think about this. And when you sit in a library where there's an avalanche of resources, at every point in time, something crosses your mind, you have where to get more information. You talk to the librarian, there's something you need, it's amazing. But right now, in Africa, many societies lack these resources. There are some existing buildings, which some of them have gone moribund, obsolete, books that are absolutely outdated, no existing digitalized form of receiving materials. But we are poised to make a change, to ensure that African children benefit from these developments, benefit from these materials that will help them become who God has ordained them to be. And we are soliciting and calling to mind the fact that the need for materials, books in every form, literary works from every form, resources that will help change these minds, the future of our world. Pardon me, I still allude to this. I was showing this friend some pictures of schools in Africa that are pitiable, dilapidated, broken down, roof leaking, but under the rain, these kids are seated, stay put, reading. Why? Because they have come to realize that their future, their greatness is dependent on the intellectual development. Unfortunately, they find themselves in that state where the resources the materials required for them to become who they desire to be are wanting. But we are poised by their dream, their hope, their belief that they can become great. Today we are privileged that we sit in this beautiful environment, in this amazing country. To God be the glory. One of our friends and member just published a book which will soon hit the market, which is called The Blessed Country, where we are, the United States, where everything is almost at your beck and call. When I look at some high schools, I say, God, help Africa. For some universities, some colleges cannot compete. The kind of structures you find here as high schools, the campuses outweigh some universities back in Africa. The libraries in elementary schools are amazing here that you cannot compare them to state and government-owned libraries in Africa. But yet, the African child is determined, desirous, dogged, willing to make a change, to make a difference. And that is why we who, by His grace, have been privileged to come see these amazing wonders, this greatness, desire to replicate back in Africa and ensure that those who are still there, even though they are not opportune to be here, can still enjoy and benefit from this. As an association, we cannot do it on our own. We can't foot it all. We need support. We need help. We need assistance for these dreams to come through. Recently, we began to look at the African continent, the challenges. Why all this? There's a huge level of corruption, greed, and avarice that is rocking that continent. And we began to ask why. But we realized that one thing is evident: poor leadership. And why is that? Some of these leaders have not been equipped to lead. They don't understand what it takes to lead. That leadership is all about servanthood. You're a leader because you've been beckoned on by your people to serve and to help, usher them into greatness, not to suppress them. And so this association took it as a point of duty to redesign the future of Africa, to create a leadership and development institute that will begin to train the future generation, that will help change the course of the African continent. In the course of this meeting, the executive director will elaborate on this next phase of our dream. But before I proceed, I want to call on every member of this association listening to me right now, and those that will listen online, and those that will see the videos on YouTube. It is not about the executive director, Chinedu Igwe. It is not about me or about Obi Ukwama, but it's about us. It's about the association. It's about Africa. All hands must be on deck. We need everyone to come on board. This dream is huge. The future of the continent right now lies in our hands. If we want that dream to come to pass, to be fulfilled, to be actualized, we must be ready to work. Teamwork is the answer. The wise man once said that teamwork makes the dream work. You can't sit on the fence and expect your dreams to come to pass. You must walk out your dream. Make the effort. Put the effort. Yeah, the resources might be slim, might be scarce. It's not all about money all the time, but your interest, your desire, your willingness to ensure that this dream comes to materialization. I'm beckoning on everyone to please. Wherever you are listening to me right now, please, we need to make this dream work. Everyone who knows anyone who has the capacity and ability to support and to help, we are calling on everyone. This dream must work. Africa must change for greatness. It's an amazing continent. I wish our friends can take a trip to Africa. It's a blessed continent, but we have a terrible challenge: poor leadership, and that is what we are set to change. As we write, we allude to these situations, and we hope that it will transform the minds of our people. We want to change the notion that if you want to hide anything from a black man, you put it in a book. We want to encourage our children to read. That is why the dream to begin to build libraries, one city at a time, is a must-be. And for us to achieve that, we need everyone on board. And I pray that the coming year will usher us into that realm where everyone comes working, making every necessary contribution in every form that will make this dream come to pass. Thank you very much for listening to me. Right now, I just want to do a quick recognition of everyone here and our friends and members before I call on the Executive Director to give his address. This morning, we have wonderful people seated here. I want to start from my right, sorry. We have in our midst the President of African Association of Georgia. So he's like our father right now here. Every association that is African-oriented, practicing in Georgia, is under his purview. Join me as I recognize the presence of Nde Wabua Teronzong Chetezo. You're welcome, sir. And right with him is his son. Sorry, I don't have your name. What's your name, sir? Judah. Judah. Yes. You're welcome, Judah. And on my left, I want to recognize one of our members. It is Salieko. You're welcome, ma'am. And right after him is my boss, the visionary. It takes a man to start a race, but it's like a relay where patents are handed over. It doesn't take one man to finish. No man is an island. But one thing I want to say about Chinedu Migwe, what he believes in it, and he runs with it. But the amazing part, he doesn't believe that he knows it all. He's so open to ideas, as long as that idea is meaningful, is achievable, and necessary. In my work with him, in line with this association, I have realized in hold on. I knew him years behind, but I've come to know him on a different platform in working with this association. To God be the glory. Somehow our minds work together as if we were there when he had that dream. And that is being our help. And when any suggestion comes, before I finish it, he said, let's proceed. And that is what has brought us this far. I'm so grateful, and I'm happy to say thank you for believing in me too. I believe in you a lot, sir. Please join me as I welcome and recognize the Executive Director of International Center of African Authors and Scholars, Nze Chinedu Igwe. Sorry for using that. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Michael. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We are so excited to have you. You're welcome. I'm going back from my left. We have the Financial Secretary to the Association, my brother, Obi Ferdinand Ukwoma. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And our great friend. While I was speaking, I was alluding to talking to someone yesterday. I met this young man, and I must say he's amazing and has a wonderful heart and is so open to reading. And I believe, like I was saying, by reading, he has come to understand that it doesn't matter where you are, but the dream and the desire to fulfill the dreams that come from what you have studied. If you look in the magazine, he made an allusion that is amazing. He said, a writer's work is useless unless that work is read. One thing is to write, another thing is for it to be read. Because once you read, I bet you something happens. Join me as I honor the presence of our friend, Troy Colston. You're welcome. And right after Colston is our other great friend, my friend. He just wrote a book that is on the way. The book is titled The Blessed Country. Wow. I encourage everyone to look for that book. Just order your copy. You go to our website, you'll find it. You go to Kindle, you'll find it. Join me as I recognize the presence of Lawrence Eka. You're welcome, sir. Right to my right, I mean, it's no more a street name. He just said the opening prayer. He's an author and a publishing guru. I want to recognize George Akoroma. You're welcome, sir. And behind Lawrence Eka, we have our wonderful guest and friend, a friend to Chinedu Igwe. She promised to be here last year, but I guess circumstances didn't permit. But this year, she beat all odds to be here this morning. We appreciate you. Join me as I recognize the presence of Patsy Dean. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. You're welcome. And from that lane too, I have in our midst one of our great member and friend, a great singer, so talented. Join me as I welcome Mercy Yalo. You're welcome. And behind Patsy is Ukwoma's son, Ozioma Ukwoma. Thank you for coming to help your dad. We appreciate your presence. And on the right is my friend and sister. Thank you for coming, please. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And last but not least, at this moment, we have Igwe's son here, Kesi Igwe. Thank you for helping out. God bless you. Thank you, thank you. And our wonderful photographer and cameraman, Honorable Obi Okezie. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. While we wait for others to come, we'll just proceed and they will join us as we continue. It's my pleasure and honor to invite to the podium for his welcome address the Executive Director of International Association of African Authors and Scholars, Honorable Chinedu Igwe.
Welcome, everyone, to this
2019 International Association of African Authors and Scholars Summit. My address is on the magazine, which is being distributed. The magazine is actually a fundraising magazine for the association to really accomplish some other programs and objectives that the association embarks upon, which is mostly providing library services in Africa and providing leadership training in Africa. Because informed readers will definitely make good leaders. Exactly what the General Secretary was saying while he was here, while he was talking to us. So when we pick up these magazines, it's a publication of the association to discover, just as the name says, discover and promote African authors. And as that is going on, the African continent is being promoted as well. So it's a fundraising magazine. When people, guests and friends and everyone picks up one and donates to the cause of the association, with the souvenirs like pens that we give out. This is how the program, this is how the objectives, and this is how this very event moves forward. Welcome to the annual 2019 Association and Summit. As we write books, there must be adequate provision to store, preserve, and manage these books for continuity and research for those children in Africa where possibilities are uncertain and inadequacies are common. The mere saying that civilization began in Africa is not enough. The question now is, where is Africa with civilization? Because there can be no civilization without visionary leadership, reading, learning, or continuous research. Schools and libraries are the answer, and the IAAAS have identified this solution, and we are making it possible for African children to have libraries to read in. At the same time, providing resources for libraries in Africa is not enough without leadership. African leaders should lead with humility, selflessness, and aspire to leave behind a positive legacy. We are on a progressive growth path through membership commitment and support. This year we became a tax-exempt corporation, which gives donors and contributors the choice to claim any amount of money or gift to IAAS. This is a milestone recognition, and we pledge to utilize your contributions to promote our objectives in Africa and promote global literacy. The International Association of African Authors and Scholars is poised to help African children by providing libraries and training youths and leaders. IAAS career advancement and leadership skills seminars and programs in collaboration with accredited institutions, including Beulah Heights University and University of West Georgia, we select and train young graduates in leadership studies who will return to their various organizations and countries to serve in leadership positions with adequate leadership skills towards organizational growth and nation building. The following quote from Russell Botman, former rector and vice chancellor of Stellenbosch University in South Africa, will best summarize this paragraph. Africa needs a new generation of responsible leaders who will be willing to place public good before self-interest. Our outstanding book prize will need your funding for literary scholarship to encourage authors to research and write more books. Please contribute to fund this program. Next year, our program will include Ambassadors Forum for African ambassadors to enlighten guests on new areas of development and investment in their countries. With your donations and participation to sponsor our library projects, African children will read in libraries. Now is the time to assist IAAS to accomplish these objectives through partnership, sponsorship, and donations to our programs. Please visit IAAS website, IAAAauthors.org, to donate, sponsor, and encourage these programs so that we all can be participants and not spectators towards promoting education, reading, and learning. Let's make an impact for Africa's children. Let's leave a legacy, and let's get involved to be heard as we write books. Thank you everyone for coming, and please continue to return to our website for news and more information about this great association and how you can join or contribute your skills and also benefit from our network of opportunities and resources to write more books and contribute more to the knowledge library of the world. In summary, I would like to mention that at the back there, we have a board, a drawing, describing what these components of leadership and library services will, how it goes. It's like going to be a command center. From there, the trainers will be trained to train others. And then it will be a coordinating point to really visit African countries, see what we can be done to get these libraries one city at a time. And I wouldn't fail to recognize some of our sponsors that have taken their time to involve themselves with what the association is doing. Glonet USA, GM Promotional Products, the Martin Luther King Jr. Drive Merchants Association, Beulah Heights University, University of West Georgia, and Sun Trust Bank. But most importantly, the members of this association. Our members are the backbone and our friends. You can imagine people from far and wide, some honoring invitation, directly or indirectly. I passed the deal even forgot or threw away the address of this venue. It was in trash and she couldn't find it. She was still able to make it here. So I greet you all for coming, and please be part of this association and spread the news. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Digwe, for that welcome address. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was quite elaborate. At least he elaborated on what I was trying to express this morning. Well, as we proceed, it's my pleasure to also invite to the podium right now our friend and the father in the house for his speech. I'm calling on the president of the African Association of Georgia, USA, Nde Wabo Fedonzo Chetoso.
Mefa, Pangu Inwane, Africa, the Seleto, the Seleningal, Nayo Pangu, we met on Georgia. Akwaba, Karibu, welcome. Welcome to Georgia. To all of you, the authors, writers, and supporters of documentation that have come to this conference here in Georgia today. I honor you for what you do, because Africa, for quite some time, has been slowing down in terms of, representing itself. And what you do is so great in that if you don't tell your own story, some other person is going to tell that story for you. And guess what? You would not be the hero. The lion's tale told by the hunter makes the hunter a greater hunter than the lion. So what you do is very important. And that underscores what the CEO just talked a few moments ago about, a legacy. And in fact, someone once said, in fact, T.S. Eliot once said, the purpose of literature is to turn blood into ink. And I like that because, there is a lot that has gone on, especially with the African people. And all of this has to be told for posterity. And if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it better than? Who's going to do it better than us? And I am one of those who think that the greatest problem of Africa and the Africans that we complain about and we talk about all the time is much more one of mentality. And writers are those who do help to shape this mentality so that we can have the Africa that we deserve. We should have the Africa, that we can have the Africa that we want. And in fact, someone put it even much better than I can, who said the greatest thing about writing is that you get to shape more than one life. And this was Kelly Michael. And again, that speaks to the fact of the legacy again that the CEO mentioned, which is very important, the next generation. We have to be able to tell our story because it contributes, to the building of the world. It's also a legacy to the world. And someone also said, Gustave Flaubert said, the art of writing is the art of discovering what you believe. We all know that a lot of things have been said, and in fact, when I got here, my good friend said that, oh, the bag I had, someone would say that is kind of like a juju bag or something. Now, you see, some of the beliefs have been changing and all of that. A lot of things have been changing. The way we look at things, we are fast becoming strangers to ourselves. Yes. And so that's why I think that it is very relevant. And we have gone through some terrible times. And the periods of slavery from the from the time, from the Arab slave trade through the slave trade with the Western countries, and colonization has done a whole lot of taking away from us who we are. But then there are still vestiges, and it is still what we are, what we represent, what we have contributed to the world is still very relevant, and we still have vestiges of that knowledge that have to be brought to the limelight. And this process has caused a deprogramming, has programmed our minds to look even at ourselves like strangers, to act like strangers of ourselves. We are fast, we are no longer original. And what you do is what is going to help this reprogramming of our people. We have to deprogram what has gone before, making us not to be ourselves, and be reprogrammed. And it is what you do that is going to bring back that legacy that we have. And I think what you do, maybe you will reveal to us through your words the true name of our continent. I guess if I say that we are not Africans, some people will jump off their seats because we never gave that name. African simply means a conquered people, because it was the name of a soldier that conquered the north of Africa, and which we later on adopted as our, our continental name. So maybe somewhere you remind us who we really are, what our real name is. Maybe you will lead us to understand that we Africans need also to communicate in our own African lingua franca, and that Swahili probably sounds better and makes more meaning to our ears than some foreign languages. Maybe you remind us what the aspirations of our ancestors were, that we may get back on track and once more be great again. Maybe you will answer the call of the prophet Bob Marley, so we may emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. Darkness is the absence of light. And literature, writings, is like a lamp. And if you cover that lamp, you don't bring it to the limelight, there is no light. So what you do is going to bring light not only to the African people, but also to the entire world. Maybe through your words, we'll have a new crop of the Chinua Achebe's, the Sheikh Anta Diop's, the Ngugi wa Thiong'os, the great authors we used to know in the past. There's been a gap. And where are the new crop of writers? Who are those telling our stories that can be known? A writer said once said that a good and this is and I'm hereby quoting G.K. Chesterton. He said, a good novel tells us the truth about the hero, but a bad novel tells us the truth about its author. So I would like you to think about that. And once more, welcome to Georgia. And thank you to this great organization for what you're doing.
Wow. That was awesome. If you listen, you will hear him speak different languages. He was only saying, welcome to Georgia in the different languages and dialectics of Africa. You know, when you say welcome, you say bienvenue on Francais. You know, you say you welcome all and welcome. When he said Akwaba, that was the Ghanaian language. You say welcome. It's amazing. Thank you so much, sir. Africa is so amazing that as we have different regions, the East, the West, the North, the South, the Central Africa, they are all unique. When you come to western part of Africa, the languages are also different. But just this morning we were talking right behind there, and I was trying to explain to my friend that in Nigeria, where I hail from, we have over 250 languages. That is not dialectics, languages. In these 250 languages, there are varying dialects and dialectics. But the interesting part is this. If you are searching for me right now, you don't have my contact, and you'll find your way to Nigeria. That you have my name. Ask anyone. I am looking for someone I met, but his name is Charles Uti. Instantly, they will narrow you down from the whole of Nigeria and bring you down to 3 states. Those 3 states centered in the South-South region. Immediately, you bring you down to the South-South. And in the South-South, they will narrow you down to either Cross River, Rivers, or Delta State. Instantly. By the time you call the name again, so good. You say Charles Amechi Uti. Awesome. It cuts off Cross River State instantly. It narrows you down to Rivers and Delta. That is the amazing and uniqueness of Africa. Names are so powerful. Names tell who you are, tell about you, Just calling your name, we can see who you are, where you're from. If you listen to the president talk, the books Africans write tell a whole lot about who we are. He mentioned an author called Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Ngugi wa Thiong'o is a great African author. He's in the category of the likes of Maria Maba, the likes of the Achebes, the Wole Soyinkas. Those are authors of old. They may not be there, some of them are past, but their works still speak. Just like our works will continue to speak even after we are gone. But the influence those words have in the lives of many, the influence, the transformation it has built in the life of many will outlive all of us. And I must presume that is why some of you are here. People who have been touched by some of these works, people who have seen the world from a different perspective because of what they have garnered and learned from reading works of some other people. And I've set them on a pedestal to do things that may be unimaginable. You ask, but what has this person got to do with Africa? Why is he so keen, or why is she so interested in the issues of Africa? Well, I guess because they see the world differently. They understand that it doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter where you come from or where you're located, but that you're human. And whatever can sustain and promote humanity is necessary. And that is why this hour, join me as I welcome our friend, Troy Colston.
Good afternoon. My name is Troy, and I'm a friend. First and foremost, I want to thank my friend, Mr. Igwe Chinedum, and my newest friend, Mr. Charles Udi, for letting me be part of this. I've known Igwe for a while, and I've known of IAAAS for a while, and I've been supportive of it. Igwe took it to a whole new level recently. He showed me a vision and a dream. I'm a reader. That is what I identify with the very most, besides the name my mother gave me. I'm a reader. I am a product of the things that I've read and the things that people have taught me from the things that they've read. I'm not an author. I wish. I really wish. I'm very anxious. I don't do this. I deal with people one-on-one. But this vision and this dream that Igwe has, that I have, that I thank Igwe for sharing with me and letting me have an opportunity to be part of something so powerful. If it weren't for the books that I've had access to, I would not be here. I would probably be very, very different. It's my belief that if I've got the right book, that there's nothing I can't know, there's nothing I can't do. And especially surrounded with the people who have the same dream and vision, nothing's impossible. The idea that there's people in the world, Africa, that have the motivation, they have the drive, and truly they have the God-given right to aspire to their greatness. They just need the resources, they need the education, they need the knowledge. Helping to provide that, helping to share that with people who otherwise probably wouldn't get it. I think that will be what I hope to be the author of. That will be my book. Not words, but things that will carry on just as long. This vision, this dream where someone can go and learn. To me, I don't think there's anything greater other than our Creator. And I think our Creator is the one that gives us the drive to help others to have these resources. Thank you all. I'm going to continue to support, and I'm glad to have met the people I've met. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Could you put your hands together for them, please? No, stop. I said put your hands together. I didn't say clap.
That's what it means.
How can you do this for me? I just said put your hands together. I didn't say clap. Could you clap for them? Good. Now you can give them a round of applause. Good. It's good to have all of us here. There is a tendency to tell a bad story from a single perspective. But somebody mentioned things about names. A name in Africa is a story. Because it tells a story of how you came to be. It tells a story of how you came to be. Let's take, for instance, a name like Obi Juro. Obi means heart. Juro on the other side means relax. So if a parent had a child and the first child died and they had a second child and that child stayed, there's a tendency for them to say, Obi Juro. That means, may your heart relax because you have a son now. So there's always a story behind the name in the African environment. And that is why we don't just say James John, James Smith, Bat, Smith, Bit. We say, Biko, that is, death, I'm pleading with you, let me alone. Mere, death caused this. And that's from the Igbo perspective, okay? From the Yoruba perspective, I think also there is. They do the same thing. From Cameroon, it's the same thing. So that is why we pay attention to names. But I'm not going to tell you about names. I'm going to say, the first time I came to this country, I stopped at the airport. When I stopped, I picked up a card, and I packaged my bag, and I moved. And then I paid somebody. The guy said, thank you, you're welcome. I paid him, and he said, you are welcome. I looked at him, and I said, what's wrong with this guy? You are welcome. I paid you, and he said, you're welcome. So I went over. And then I saw somebody and I paid him for something else. And I said, thank you. And he said, you are welcome. I was beginning to get worried. So the next place I stopped was MC Donald. Is it, what do you call it? Oh, McDonald. Because I called it MC Donald. Okay? But most of you know it as what? McDonald. But it's MC Donald. And then I bought, was it? In Africa, we say it's chips. In America, they say it's what? Fries. You see that? So yeah. So I bought chips. I said, can I have some chips? Can I have some chips? Because my accent was still very, very heavy then. Can I have some chips? And the young lady was looking at me and she was like, excuse me? I said, can I have some chips? And I started pointing at what she was doing. Oh, fries. I said, fries? What is fries? What I know in Africa is when you say fries, you are frying something. And for somebody to say fries on food, I was kind of confused. So when I bought the fries / chips, I paid her and she said, thank you. And she said, you're welcome. I said, you know what I did? I said, oh, these two know that I'm new. Because I just got into the country and everybody is saying, welcome, welcome. So everybody knew I was new. And that didn't stop there. Then I said, excuse me, sir, where is your toilet? Where is your toilet? And the young man at the airport was looking at me. I said, where is your toilet? I want to know, You know, he said, oh, you mean restroom? I said, oh, a restroom is where you go and do what? Rest. So you see the language difference. And it could take you on stage. When you go to perform, they say break a leg. When you're going on stage, they say break a leg. And I say, oh, how can I break a leg when I'm going to act? So you see the differences in language and in cultures. And it is all about telling stories. My name is Obijuru, but when I type it into the computer, it says obituary. And I'm beginning to get suspicious of the computer system.
Oh, they changed it for you, yeah.
They changed it. So what I've decided to do was, anywhere I go, I say my name is Obi. Before somebody starts doing what? Having a tongue seizure, okay, in trying to pronounce my name. And then the other thing is this. When I was a young boy, I grew up in a village. We told stories. In the evening when everybody's come home, our grandmom or grandpa or anybody will come and sit us down and tell us stories. These are oral traditions. Nobody wrote them down, but they transferred it from generation to generation. And some of those stories formed who we are today. Because those stories were spiced up with morals. They used animals in place of humans because they didn't want to affect, tell Mrs. Eko that she's greedy. So instead of saying Mrs. Eko, they will use an animal to represent a human so that nobody will feel insulted or, dehumanized. So thank you, IAAA. Is it IAAA? You see, when you begin to expand language, it begins to cause trouble. IAAA. Can you help me? You see, I went to night school, and because of that, there are certain words I can't pronounce easily. I have a British accent, excuse me, because some of those things I'm talking about, it's gonna be fine, and I have a French accent. In French, when you go to France, they say quelle heure est-elle? That is, what is the time? In a particular tribe in Igbo language, they say nkele rotune, that is, how are you?
Sounds alike.
Sounds alike. In French, it's quelle heure est-elle, which is, what is the time? In this part of Igbo land is nkele rotune, which is, how are you today? Thank you very much, and we're gonna have lunch. We'll come and entertain you later, but enjoy yourselves. Tell your story. Don't let anybody tell your story. Please, if you can, bring your children together. Tell them the stories your parents used to tell you. I do storytelling. And there is something we've all come to know, that together, nobody can break you. But as an individual, people can tear you apart. It's unfortunate that Africa is the way it is today. And I believe that one day, that new generation of leadership will take over and make Africa what it's supposed to be. I loved what you said. We're going to talk more about it because it is for those of us in diaspora to project a new kind of leadership. We can't be corrupt and expect those at home to be better than we are. So we have to forge ahead. Thank you for coming and have a blessed day.
You see, it's amazing how language can make or mar your feelings or mar your understanding. If you're not enlightened and your mind is not attuned, there are certain things that you come across that affects you negatively. He was being light with this, jokingly, but that is the truth. You put in some stuff on your phone or on the computer, and the response it gives to you is terrible. Just yesterday, I was with him and we were trying to hasten up certain things he was doing on the computer. And I said, I realized that there's a software where you can just speak and it writes for you. It facilitates it. It takes away the time of typing. I said, yes, I remember I had the software. So we opened up the software and he began to type. So as he was speaking, I was watching, and he called a word, Holy Spirit will help me. And it gave us a totally different, a totally different interpretation. And that is what technology is doing to us this time. But that's notwithstanding. As we proceed this morning, we all can speak one language that we all can understand. Today we are going to go through a series of things. Right about now, we want to proceed to viewing the books on the stands. Alongside, food is ready. So you can pick something to eat. There are drinks, soda and water. There's food. While we reset, by the time we return, we'll be having a performance by one of us here today. And then at the end of today's meeting, when the authors present would have presented their work, we do outstanding book prize every year. We review the books. The authors will review their work, and we vote to which of these books make more meaning and sense to you. The idea is not that one book is better than the other, but we're just creating an opportunity to encourage ourselves to keep writing. Right now, we don't have the resources that big to present to these winners, but we appreciate them in our way, and believing and hoping that in the future we'll begin to have donors that will come forth and offer something to these authors to appreciate their work, to encourage them, to keep stimulating them to write. But one thing is certain, it doesn't matter what award, what bonus or honor you get. A writer is a writer. It is a passion, the zeal, the desire to write, to put words on paper, to put thoughts, ideas on paper. And we won't stop writing. We won't stop researching. We won't stop creating. And we won't stop changing the world. The power of the pen is unbeatable. The world has been changed by literary works, and it will not stop. And thank God that we are on our toes, and we are still writing. Please, ladies and gentlemen, you're invited to the book viewing and eating. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I brought you here because I wanted you to see this vision and dream with us. The executive director spoke about it while he was speaking, but we realized we needed to hit hard on this. Reasons being that we were talking about leadership as the pain of the African continent. And our desire is to bring about a change in the nature of our leaders in Africa. And for that to happen, we need our future leaders to be groomed, to be trained in the act of leadership. And in doing that, by reason of our objective, we decided to pursue this dream and began to partner with presently 2 universities in the United States. The Biola Heights University and the University of West Georgia. These 2 universities are partners to this association right now in helping to train Africans in public administration, in leadership and development. and business administration. That has already taken off. But in the process, we are hindered and hampered by certain challenges. The challenges of obtaining visa for these Africans to come over to the United States to study. That has become a big challenge. Some have already gotten admission, have registered, but didn't get visas to come over. And as a result, we had to look for an alternative. How do we ameliorate this challenge right now? And so the dream of building a structure in Africa and then move the trainers from the United States back to Africa to train them became imperative. And that gave rise to this structure you see. This is an intending campus we have called the Career and Leadership Development Center. This center will be a hub for training the future generation and to carry on the establishment of libraries across Africa. And so from this structure, you will see that this is the campus. From here, it will contain a guest house where the visiting professors will reside, where other students from other parts of Africa will reside. It's going to be a restaurant, it's at car lots, and then the Leadership Institute. Then the Leadership Institute itself, where we contain the classrooms and research or whatever. Then we have the bookshop, and amazingly, what we call the Authors Museum. Here you will find historical information about African authors and leaders, friends and partners that will make this dream and has kept Africa going. And then we have the resource center, the library resource center. This is going to be the command center for the development of the libraries across Africa. Then we also try to put in the business center for where they can do all the other research and download and dissemination of information. So it's a compendium of our dream. They say if you can't beat them, you join them. Since we can't get the African students to come over here, we want to move the African schools over there. When these trainers come train the Africans, then they will replicate, we now have leaders who can replicate the training process in Africa. But right now, we need their support, and we already have that partnership. But we need to make this dream come true. And what are we saying? We are calling for support. We are calling for assistance. Everyone is required to be part of this. This is huge. Our dream of changing the face of leadership in Africa has become imminent. And it has to be done right about now. We're asking you, anyone that knows anyone, any agency, any organization that can help us bring this objective and dream to fruition, please help us. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.
One more thing, please. One more thing. Yes, very good comments there by the General Secretary, Charles Uti. I just want to add that Messi Allo is very good with these fundraising issues. Just to follow up from what you said, please, our members, friends, if you have or know anyone that can really support in funding, fundraising, she's very good at following up. Our members reach out to her. You know our email list. When we receive your emails, her name is there, Mesialo, and her email address and number. Please, if you cannot do, give her the information and I'm very, very sure she will follow up. Here you go, and all our members, too, all our friends. And to support something like this too, that is why our magazines are really a way of raising funds. So if you are here, you want to donate anything, the financial secretary is there, any amount. I mean, they said raise of 1,000 miles start from the race. From $1 to $1 million US, we accept. We are open for business and we are open 24 hours. If you can't do here, please go to our website. Very, very necessary. The website is right here. Secure, open, taking money. In short, any type of money. Impossible. So thank you all, and that's it.
Thank you so much. Okay, I felt that was necessary and very important, so that we all live with that in our subconscious as we go. And thank you for being very patient with me while I was going through that expression. It's something that is very passionate in my heart, something I look forward to seeing come to materialization, and I know it's going to happen. It will happen. Thank you. Right now, we want to go through a performance. We have a series of performances laid out right now. In music, in literary tales, it will come in series. And we have some speeches and presentations. Then we proceed to authors presenting their work for us to evaluate, for us to appreciate. But right now, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome on stage, not my podium, our friend and sister, Miss Messialo. Please join your hands together and welcome Messialo.
So we invite God into this place now, and we know that all our prayers, all our dreams for Africa will come to pass. Oh God, you are good, you are great, you are kind, Heavenly Father, receive our prayers in Africa. Oh God, you are great, you are kind, you are good, Heavenly Father, receive our prayers in Africa. Chukwu, Idima, Chineke mai, nara ekele oge niile, oyere ma, nara ekele oge niile, Chineke nara ekele na Africa. This is African Queen. This is who we are in Africa. Excuse my raspiness, it's a long journey for me. Coming from a very cold area, overnight travel. Wow. Can I get some volume? Give me some volume. Aha. I am a real African queen. Mama, a real African queen. Every woman a real African queen. Tell me what you don't know. African queens that became a story made about queens and kings. Everybody was kings and queens, and everybody was high. The magic carpet, it starts to roll into let you face. Exhausted favors you just can't waste. So hurry, don't be too late. Cause why? I'm an African. I come all the way down from Africa. I'm singing back here in Africa. You got to keep on that fast. Yeah, I'm an African. I come all the way down from Africa. I come to make you right. You got to keep on. I am a real African queen. I'm a man, a real African queen. Every woman, a real African queen. Tell me what you love. African queen is a kingdom. It's something I tell a mental state. If you believe, you won't hesitate to listen and meditate. Now the meaning of my lyrics, I think I'll let you state. So all I have to do is create. My rhythms will captivate. Cause why? I'm an African. I come all the way down from Africa. I'm singing like here in Africa. We got to keep up that fight. Yeah, I'm an African. I come all the way down from Africa. I'm singing like here in Africa. So we have a lot of people here from some other African countries. I'm going to be speaking in a Bantu language now, okay? So this isn't just Nigeria, but this isn't Swahili either. So you can guess. I'm going to say a little of it in English as well so you understand what I'm talking about. So, originally by Brenda Fassi. Can I get some volume, please?
You say
make a difference. IAAS, IAAS, IAAS. You say I am no matter. You say that you can make a difference all over the world. In Africa, all over the world, we can make a difference. Let's say, oh yeah. In Africa, we can make a difference all over the world. All over the world. We can make a difference. But now I say, oh, I saw you. And now I say, oh, I saw you. And I saw you. In Africa, yes, you. That's how it is. Yes, you. In Africa, we can make the difference. I am the difference. You are the difference. We are the difference.
That was amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, I will give me a round of applause again, please. Thank you. I understand after the long trip all the way, your voice is down, but it's okay. I mean, we understood what you were saying. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. As we proceed, when books are written, most challenges that authors have is publishing. And that is part of the genesis that led to this association today. Many authors are ripped off. Many authors don't find good publishers. Some find publishers who end up benefiting than the authors themselves. But thank God today the association is here helping to promote the works of members of this association and other authors as well. And we have authors who have also come to understand the art of publishing. And so right about now, it's my pleasure to welcome one of us to make a presentation on the art of publishing. Please put your hands together as I welcome George Akwonwa.
Let me not waste your precious time. I am going to present a paper called Living Through Your Self-Publishing Dreams. And it has a subtitle, If You Can Dream It, You Can Do It. After I spoke with the chairman about this topic, I decided to, concluded about it about a week ago on a Saturday, and on a Sunday, I started putting it into a book because I don't believe in Western materials. So by end of November, it will actually be on Amazon. Living Through Your Self-Publishing Dreams. If you can dream it, you can do it. I wanted to find out where people are. And I spoke with someone that helped me a lot. So this is it. Some people have already published their first books. and they are trying to decide, where do I go from here? But for people who haven't published their Facebook themselves, I think those are the people I want to talk to. So if you want to write a book, or you've written a book, and you want to publish it yourself without paying $4,000, like the person I spoke to said she paid $4,000, and I felt so bad. You don't want to pay that kind of money, and you just want to publish your first book with less than $200, then you are the person I'm going to talk to today. You might benefit from this. Raise your hand up if you're one of those people. You want to publish a book, you have a beautiful story, it must be heard, it's been too long with you, and a lot of things are holding you back. One of it might be cost. So this is what this topic is all about. So we're going to cruise through the 3 pages very quickly because of time. So what is self-publishing? The way I define it is this. Please don't be offended if you don't like the language, especially if you heard I'm a pastor. It's telling the traditional publishers to go to hell and turning to your manuscript and saying, manuscript, it's time to get published and I'm nothing gonna stop me. That's my definition of self-publishing. So, but for academicians in our midst, the definition of self-publishing is the publication of a media or material by its own author. That's a good definition. So, what is self-publishing, you might ask? So, why self-publishing? We've defined self-publishing. Why? Why do you want to do it? So many reasons. But for me, it helps you keep all your money. Somebody was telling me she published a book and she doesn't see the money. And I've been in that position. I published 3 books by, well, when I say I published, I paid somebody to publish it. Those are called vanity publishers. You don't want to deal with them. There are so many of them everywhere. They make you pay $3,000, $4,000. I paid $8,000 for 3 books in 2004. Till today, those guys haven't paid me more than $100. So you think I want to do that again? No way. God, regardless of your situation, there's still something to do. We don't have time to discuss what did I do with those 3 books. I wouldn't make money from the vanity publishers, so I took matters into my hand. Okay, I had a TV interview that helped me, and I went to the bookstores and knocked on a few of them, and some of them took my books and put it on the shelf. So there's still something you can do to redeem yourself if you've been ripped off. So self-publishing, whatever is your reason, is a beautiful thing. Can we agree on that? Mm-hmm. Steps you can take. That is the nitty-gritty. That's where we want to spend our time. What steps do you need? The first step is to write your book, right? Mm-hmm. Write your book. Everybody has a book. I don't care what you think. There's a story that you have, the world is waiting to hear. You know? So, write the book. When you finish writing your book, you see, there are a lot of things you can do. I'm going to deal with the important ones from 6 to 10 because we don't have time. If you're following the manual, you know. So the next thing after writing your book is to edit your book, okay? That's a given. But a lot of people make mistakes there. They don't spend time editing their books. There are so many things you can do. You can start by looking for a friend that is good. First of all, you start with yourself, okay? Don't say, I don't know how to edit, because if you can write a book, you can edit it. But the truth is that your eyes cannot fish out everything. In fact, by the time I finish writing a book, I have memorized half of my books. So it's like a music, and I don't see the mistakes. So find somebody. Now, let me suggest to you, if your wife or husband is not interested in your writing, stay away. Because my wife is like, who is going to read your book anyway? So she doesn't even know the titles I have. And she doesn't care. And yet, she's a wonderful lady. So get somebody who has some interest with you. Okay, I have some buddies who know how to write, who know how to catch mistakes. So I use them. After my first effort, I go straight next to them. But that's not enough. The next step is, if you reach, hire a professional editor. But if you're like me, who is feeding from the crumbs from the rich man's table, you can go somewhere. And I'm going to emphasize that so much. No board here. I like to write on the board, but that's okay. It's right here. Go to the last page, page 3, conclusions. If you make friend with a website called Fiverr, that's what I use. Fiverr.com. I don't know them, I don't know anybody there, I don't even care about them, but they are useful to me, that's all I care. So don't say I'm promoting somebody, I don't really know anybody there. So, but for me, Fiverr helps me a lot. What does it help me to do? Edit for my book, prepare my book cover. I don't do it myself. I hire their services. They have experts there. And guess what? How much does it cost me to design my book cover? Now, my book covers, you may not like them, but they did this. You know how much I paid? $25 for this book cover. To me, that is not bad. This one, $25. This, I don't like it though. I'm redoing it. $25. Yeah, you can hire some bad people there. So there's a way to sort the non-professionals from the professionals so that you get worth of your money. Having said that, when you finish a book, go there, hire an editor. I look for people who have a degree in English or creative writing. I don't care how many books you've published. If you're not an editor, you're not an editor. You know, it's like a doctor telling a teacher how to teach, or a teacher telling a doctor how to treat. It doesn't work. Okay, so look for the good ones there. Those with a college degree in English, and I have track record of many successful editing. You hire them for $40. So you can publish your own book for $100. That's what I use for my own publishing. Now, $100. This is where you might make a mistake. Trying to be cheap, even in a cheap environment. I find this a lot with Africans, including me. You go there, some people will tell you $10 to do your book cover. Don't hire them. Look for those who have references like they have 5/5, and they have done that particular work for about 500 people. You can't go wrong with that. But not one person that has 1 record or 2 records is charging you $5. You come out with something you wouldn't like. So if you want to publish a book, it takes me, I'm not exaggerating, because I'm not too smart a guy. I don't waste too much time on something. That's my problem. It takes me only 2 weeks to write my books and publish. If you don't like it, that's your problem. But you know the good thing. I can revisit that book so many times and improve on it. So that does not discourage me. Okay? Does it mean you have to be sloppy like me? No. But all I'm saying is that don't take 10 years writing one book, for goodness sake. You know? Just decide to do it. Structure yourself, set deadlines, and do it. What I'm trying to present to you is to demystify some of the problems So from today, you can now go to Fiverr for that book. I know you have 3 books you're trying to publish. I'm just kidding with you. You can go to Fiverr and hire somebody to do book cover. This one that I'm designing, they sent the book cover for me today. I mean, this one I'm just presenting now. Because I value my time so much, if I have to do a presentation, it has to be a book. That's my formula. And because I don't take a long time, in the next 3 weeks, it's going to be on Amazon. Now, the number of copies I sell depends on me. You know, there are too many things to do which we don't have time to get into. So go there, hire your book cover, pay him $25, that's what I pay. Okay? They send it to you. You have the option to revise it as many times as you want. So you can print it out, send it to so many friends. Say, hey, what do you think about this? And they'll give you some inputs, and you improve on it. And it takes them 2 days. So let's say you have a 10-day project to finish designing your book, and the 12th day you're publishing it. So the first 2 days, your book cover. After your book cover, your manuscript has to be edited. The editors take a little more time. So let's give them 3 days. And they can revise it as many times as you want. And editing is everything I'm talking here, there's too much to it. I can talk about editing for 4 hours. There are different kinds of editors. And there are different softwares you use for editing. You can use Grammarly, that's fair enough. And some of other editors are listed here, like BookBaby. They have softwares and stuff like that can help you. But regardless of what you do, going through your friends and everything, hire an editor. When it comes back to you in 3 days, that's 5 days, right? For finishing that book. You take your manuscript after it's edited, send to those who will format it. So what is formatting? Making your book print ready. Because the Word document you use to write your book, your beautiful book, your dream book, if we upload it, say, to Amazon or KDP, it's not going to come out fine. Okay, so formatting is like tailoring the book or putting it into a structure that will make it come out fine when it's printed as a book. So I have seen formatters who do it in 24 hours. But for benefit of that, let's give it 2 days. So format your book 2 days in Fiverr. So now we have how many days? 7 days. So you book cover, editing, formatting, then you take 2 days to go through every other thing in case you need correction, amendment, you know. So that makes it 9 days. So the 10th day, you publish your book. Now, when I mean publish, it's like, what is he talking about? You choose your publisher, and that's a different ballgame. Choosing your publisher is another thing maybe I will have time to run through. But let's hypothetically say you want to use KDP, which is Amazon. You know, I recommend that because they don't charge you no money to start. Mind you, your budget is $100 to publish a book. So you go to KDP, you upload it. You just create an account with kdp.com and follow the uploading steps. You upload the book cover, you upload the formatted material, and you click publish. And your book is published. Of course, when you upload it, they're going to take 24 hours to review it. Make sure that it meets their minimum standards. And after 24 hours, they email you and said, "Hurrah, you're good to go." So you go back to their website, click publish, your book is published. So in 10 days, if, let's say your name is Mr. Genius, and you just call your friend who doesn't believe in you, and you say, "Guess what? My book is on Amazon." It's like, wait a minute, do you know how to write a book? You say, okay, go to Amazon search, type my name, Mr. Genius, and you will see a book. It's like, Mommy, you know that this lazy fellow has just published a book. You know, so you can make your dreams come true. And that's very interesting because one thing, I don't know about you, I've not been very fortunate in certain things. For instance, when I read veterinary medicine, my uncle looked at me and said, why must you read veterinary medicine? Why must you be a veterinary doctor? And I'm like, is that your business? So I write poems, and they're like, why must you write a poem? And I said, guess what? I am an African poet, and I'm so proud of it. That's what I call myself. If you don't like poetry, too bad. But this guy here likes poetry, and this guy here is an African poet. You know? So, be bold, believe in yourself, tell your story, publish your book. You can do it. Now, I wasn't following the manual. Let's go back to it. So, that was a synopsis of whatever I really want to say, but let's be more practical. Because I'm going to leave 10 minutes for questions, you know, or 15 minutes. Okay, let's take questions. You know, yes, sir.
How about the size of the book?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Your question was what?
The size of your book.
The size of your book. Now, there are pros and cons. If you're publishing with KDP, if you want your book to have spine, you know, this is spine, right?
Yes.
It must be about 105 pages, minimum. If it's not up to 105 pages, you see this little boy I published here? There's no spine. And if your book does not have spine, the bookstores and the libraries will not stock your book. It's a very important point. If it doesn't have a spine that shows the title and the name, think about it. If it's on the shelf, nobody's going to know what is there. So the size of your book is important. You determine the size of your book. If you want to write an encyclopedia, you are welcome. Okay? Encyclopedia or pedia, whatever. You are welcome. But let me tell you something. Oh, the world has gotten lazier. People don't like big books. They like fast foods. So help yourself to help your readers to read your book. So don't go writing the whole thing. And another thing you want to do is that when you have a beautiful topic, fragment them. Yeah, fragment them. Don't give the world all your at once. Man, you must be very kind and foolish to do that. Sorry to use that word.
You write sequels.
Wait, we're pastor, huh?
You write sequels.
Yeah, you can decide to write series, sequels, whatever, but you can also decide to write your first chapters, make each chapter a book. If you have time, though. But if you are very busy, like some of us, everybody's busy in America, then you might want to just write one or two on that topic. So size is important. Any other question? Let me take my sister here. Yes, ma'am.
What percentage would Amazon or anybody that publishes keep?
Okay.
And the second question, when you're working with people with all these websites, do you communicate directly with them or you're doing the chatting thing?
Okay. All those websites, the only one I recommend for a beginner is Fiverr. So you're dealing with only one website. The second website you're going to deal with is Amazon if you decide to publish with them. So it's only one website. So you do one thing at a time. Book cover, you hire a book cover, finish with that. 2 days. Drop it. Go to the next one. Finish it. By the time 10 days, if you are me, I don't take 1 month. You know, I eat very fast. So you can tell. That's my life story. I don't want to waste time. So 10 days, you're done with Fiverr. Then you go to Amazon and do your own thing there and have your book there within 10 days.
Okay, so it's two different processes. You do the editing and formatting.
Oh yeah, that's very important. That's why it's self-publishing. You make the call, not the traditional publishers. You decide what pace and what time and what you want to do with your book. This, why it's self-publishing is that you are the one making the call. The only thing is that you're hiring some experts to save you some time, okay? You want them to design your book cover because you don't have time to do it. Even if you know how to do it, leave it for the experts. You've had that before, right? So, what was the first question?
What's the percentage?
Okay,
done with it?
with KDP, okay, if they give 35 and 70, you make the choice. But there is a catch. KDP has KDP Standard and KDP Select. KDP Select will give you 70% on your ebooks, and maybe 60% on your paperback. But they will own your material for 90 days. Amazon alone will own it. After 90 days, it's auto-renew the contract. You can go there and tell them, hey, stop Amazon. I'm done with you. I want to try somebody else. And that's it. You own your material again. But with 70% KDP Select, you have a wider distribution and you make more money. But if you want to just use KDP Standard, you can market your book to anybody. There are ways of uploading them to so many other people, Barnes & Nobles, Kobo, and so many other people.
How do you decide on the price?
The price, there's an option there for you, okay? So, these books, I like to sell my book $10, some of them $12. But that has been a mistake. You know why? I don't see any reason why I shouldn't sell this book $6. I will still make $2, $3, and to me that's fine. Now, if you want to order your books in order to make money, because they charge you for shipping, if you order 50 books, your shipping will come down to $1.50. So, and if you're a publisher, if your price is $6, they sell it to you for $3. You know, so before it used to be $2.50. I don't know what happened. They keep trying to milk everybody. So I don't know if it answers your question. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Chinedi.
Yes. Please, during one of our discussions, you mentioned something about group or members in this association publishing a book. And can you throw a little bit light into that, how members can benefit from such project?
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. For that matter, you've made me a member for 1 more year. I'm just joking. Renewable. You know, like I told you, I don't like wasting time, okay? One of the drawbacks of Africa is that we waste a lot of time. But to Americans and to other people, time is what? Money. Big money. So I told this gentleman here that, look, we can reward everybody that attended a conference by publishing a book with the works of every member that came for the conference. And guess what? We can publish it in 3 weeks. If you have all your materials ready, it's very simple. We can select the African chairman and the young lady here and the son. Your job is to go to Fiverr and choose a cover page designer and supervise it. You have 2 days. Okay, let me be nice and kind to you. I'll give you 4 days because this is a group work. And we can even give you 2 weeks. Then I go to our medical professional here and the guy who wants to tell us how beautiful living in America is, which is good. We can say these 2 people, your job is to go to Fiverr and find a good editor. Pay him $50. Take 2 weeks. So we got the book covered, we got the content to be edited, then we need to format it. We can tell our singer, or make it all ladies' affair, all of them sitting at the back. You go find a good person to format the book for us and get the book formatted. So what we are left with is the content, and that might be the little hard ones. So we tell our guy with PhD, and a journalist, and maybe the chairman, and say, okay, your job is to choose the content, edit the content, and tell us what kind of content you're looking for. We might give you 1 month. You know why? Because they're going to have a lot of materials and decisions to make. But my thing is this. Realistically, to get everybody's book here, some books will be only excerpt. I don't know if I pronounce it well. How is it called? Excerpt. So like my sister wrote a big book. We can put the book there, but we can choose excerpts for 3 pages or 2 pages. And beneath it, we write her bio. We're promoting her book. Fortunately, we can't put all the book there. Then we can have people like me who write poems. So we have sections for poetry. We have sections for music. We have sections for short stories, articles, science. So let's say we have 6 sections. Okay, and then we tell everybody who is interested to submit your materials in 30 days. How many believe it's possible? Yeah, you submit your materials in 30 days. You can tell us, without mentioning the patient, okay? I deal with patients too, not with animals now. I changed my career. So you can tell a story that affected you, that made you a better person. Short story. And present it. And that could change somebody's life. So in effect, summarily, we can produce a work annually for people who attended the conference. And we can have it on Amazon, I told Chinedu for benefit of that, within 3 months. And it's doable. If you're willing to work with me, we'll get it done and it will be a beautiful work. Thank you. I was told my time is up.
I think, okay, last thing, how can we, the best way to contact you for the follow-up, I know. Yes, that would be the best way for everybody here that is listening. Yes.
Yeah, we can have a conference line. This is what I suggest. We can have a conference line. There is Zoom. How many know about Zoom here? Rochine, do you know about Zoom?
Not yet.
You need to know about Zoom.
You do now.
Yeah. Because with Zoom, we pay a minimum fee of maybe about $25, and we will see each other in the same, talking to each other. So it's so beautiful. But if we don't want Zoom, we can just have one of these free conference numbers, and we can conference about the book preparation and writing, and it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the best thing is that we were talking about among ourselves in the group, in the association, and then format a way to go forward. Maybe next exhibition we can.
Yeah, you call the shot. So the next exhibition is good, but like I said, when he said next exhibition, I said
That's a long time.
this man knows how to waste time. But you know what? That's why he's a good leader. Because good leaders take time to do what? To think. But people like me feel like it's a waste of time. Why do you have to keep me waiting for 1 year? I told him if you do that, you will lose me, because I don't have that attention span. I just believe, do it now.
Just to take over from
But please don't mind me. Just go with your plan, okay? We can still do it next year if that's what you like. Thank you very much. If you have personal questions, you can come to me later. God bless.
Thank you.
If you listen keenly to George Akunwa, you will discover that there's this possibility in publishing that can be quite speedy. Now, what comes to your mind after hearing that? That it's possible that you can write and publish just like this.
I wish I knew this.
Now you know. Don't worry, this is just the first. Other books are coming. All right? Now you know that your next book will not go through the hustles you took to get this one ready. Great. That is the idea behind IAAS. And I'm glad many people will benefit from this. If we are able to restructure and change the costs and the cost of our publishing, all you need is just to conceive the idea, take your time to write your work, and the finishing touch is just dealt with because you know where to go, you know who's going to help you do your cover design, you know how cheap it is for you to get your work edited, you know how cheap it is for you to get your work formatted, and just with a click, you publish. And in such a short time, your work is online, and you begin to see the remuneration come back. More than enough, your legacies are being stored in the annals of history. I'm excited because the idea of helping us to get to that point where publishing is not hindered or hampered anymore is what we're just trying to elaborate. And so every one of us who is still hoping and waiting and planning to publish, please, it is cheaper, it is easier than it was. You can do that with ease. Thank you, Judge Akarawa. I really appreciate that presentation. Thank you so much. As we continue, but let me take this caveat. Chinedu Migwe is not slow in taking actions. We have done things that have been done with the snap of a finger. Even this matter, a lot depends on what we want. If really we want to push these books, yeah, it's going to be an amazing one to have a compendium, a collection of all the works we've had in this house and more. That we will give a thought and deal with expressly. I think some of us feel it is necessary. But like he said, it's not going to be the full book, it's going to be excerpts from every work. But let me throw this out right now. I want to give us the privilege and opportunity. Look at your work. What do you want to go out there? All right? If you as the author choose XYZ number of chapters or pages that you want to go through the book, get it ready, forward it to my email. And then when we have this collection, then we can piece them together and now say, okay, now we want to proceed. Then we have what we have, and then we can reassess. I think that we can deal with. And then it's going to be a collective work. Ms. Aliego, are you with me? So let me have the pages you want to come. Let me have the excerpts you want from your work. Your work is an amazing one. Each time I talk about it, I talk about it with a passion and a pain. If you understand what her work is, she wrote a book on the slavery of Africa, the pains that our people went through. Unfortunately, we thought it was yesteryears, but even right about now, they are still existing. Her work is just right there. In the next few minutes, we will begin to go through the author's work, and the authors begin to present their work, and you begin to appreciate what I'm talking about. But before that is done, join me again as I welcome our friend and brother, Obi Okezie, for his story.
Yes, sir. In case you want to publish a book, I do design cover. Nami designed this one. And the brochure you're looking at, Nami designed them too. So the brochure you're looking at, I designed it. So I do cover design, I do layout design. Okay? So, and I'm closer, you're not chatting with me. You can get me on the phone.
I didn't give you this microphone to do marketing.
No, but it's part of life. Marketing is life.
For you.
You do it for me. Thank you, sir. Yes, so we are telling our stories today, isn't it?
Yes.
Are we telling our stories?
Yes.
You see, I used to have a big stomach.
It's still big.
Yes, it's still big. Then one morning I woke up. I took a cup of water and the thing went down because I ate chicken last night. So how many of you belong to any group? How many of you belong to groups? Show by raising your hands.
Like what?
Any group.
Any group.
Any group. WhatsApp group. Heaven group. Hell group. Social group. Whatever group. Any group you belong to. You see, if you don't go to your group, whatever decisions they make is binding on you. Isn't it? So that is why it is important when there's a meeting, you do what? You go to the meeting. When there's a call, you do what? You answer. Chinedu was asked, does he know Zoom? He said he has not Zoomed before. So he's going to start Zooming now. But let me tell you a story. In the land of the animals, I want you to follow me. Let's take our imagination from this point to the animals, okay? In the land of the animals, there was famine. Is it famine or famine? Which one is it? The situation where there is no food, isn't it? Yeah. Good. Okay? So because I like to, when I give you a word, if I don't get it right, I want to give you a description of it so you can understand what I'm talking about. Huh? Good. So there was famine in the land of the animals. And everybody was hungry. People were dying. There was no food. There was no rain.
You said land of the animal. How can people be dying?
Yes, imagine with me. Why are you doing this to me, sister? Okay, travel with me. So people were dying. And remember when I told you that stories, we use animals to represent what? Humans. So let's assume those animals are saying, they are humans actually. They are subhumans. Okay?
Humans are animals.
2, thank you, my brother. So what happened was that there was famine in this land and people were dying of hunger. And so the villagers decided to call a meeting. Hello? They decided to call a meeting. And the meeting was to discuss how to alleviate the situation. I got that grammar right? Yes. How to alleviate that situation. And imagine it. You wake up in the morning, there was no food. In the afternoon, there is none. In the evening, there is none. And people keep trotting the day in and out, in and out. It was getting bad. And so they decided to call him in and we've got to put a stop on this. You know what they did? In a traditional setup, they don't have a cell phone. You know when there is a tornado, you have what? Siren going off. In those days, they didn't have those things. What they had was a what? A town crier. And the town crier goes out at the earliest of the mornings, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., when it is quiet everywhere. And then he has his gong with him. And then when he goes, he rings his gong. And people will now do what? Listen. Because no matter what happens in your neighborhood, at 4 a.m., you will hear every sound around your neighborhood. Is it? Yes. So you know what happened? They called a meeting. Everybody came to the market square for the meeting. The only person who did not come was chicken, hen, and cock. They did not come to the meeting. So when the chief of the village summoned the meeting and everybody was there, he said, okay, you guys, you know our problem is that there is no food for us to eat. And so this meeting is to discuss ways and means of having enough food to eat. But unfortunately, we cannot finish the discussion. Because why? Cock and hen did not come. And so they decided to do what? Postpone the meeting till another market day. You know, in my culture, we count days by market. We don't count days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We count days by market. 4 market days, or 8 market days, or 12 market days. And there are 16 market days too. And all have significance in the traditions and culture of the people. So you know what happened? On the 8th market day, when the meeting was summoned again, you know who did not come? Chicken and hen and cock did not come. And they made the decision. They made the decision that from this point, we're going to be eating chicken. Since they did not come to the first meeting, and they are not here at the second meeting, we're going to be eating what? Chicken. That is why you have every kind of chicken food. Chicken leg, chicken breast, chicken pori, breast, chicken thigh, chicken wings, chicken fingers, chicken nozzles, chicken this. So please, if you belong to a group, make sure you go to that meeting. Or else, you will end up being chicken. If you are not at the table, your voice will not be heard. So if you are a member of International Association of African Authors and Scholars, you must do what? Participate. The book we are talking about, we are going to put together in 2 weeks. Reverend Naso?
If you want.
Oh. If you not agree, we'll agree for you. So my brothers and sisters, enjoy yourselves and let's have a good time. Thank you.
Wow. You see that skillful mastery, storytelling ability of that young man. Obi, thank you so much for that presentation. I do really appreciate you. As we continue this afternoon, we have a few things lined up to go through before we get to the grand finale, the voting session, and then the photography, and then we call it another year. Right now, I have Holy Spirit. Okay. We have in our midst someone who has a presentation to make, and this is amazing. It's a production that is taking the African face. Right about now, I just want to invite Ms. Malaise de Paul Ngasam, from MDC Foundation. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello. My name is Marlies, and this was a last-minute thought. Even though I was aware of this meeting, this summit, I just thought it was for books. And I got out of the bed yesterday. I'm like, wait a minute. I have something that is about Africa too. And I called and they said I could come. I was just coming to bring the dolls. I wasn't expecting to have, since I did not inform anybody last minute, and it was very kind of them to say, yes, we can give you a few minutes. So I'm very, very pleased and very humbled by this opportunity. I'm on a campaign of compassion. My mother passed away almost 2.5 years ago out of sheer neglect in a hospital in Cameroon. I was born in Cameroon. I practically lived here most of my life. So I left Cameroon a very, very long time ago. I'm an educator from primary to college. A lot of things happened. And when my mother passed away, that was the last straw. I had just had shoulder surgery, so I couldn't even go back to the classroom. But what happened to my mom when I went to bury her, the story I was hearing was very disheartening. I could not continue life. I could not just accept that this is the way it is in those society, because people keep saying, oh, that's, your mom was 75 years old. My sister was 15. My brother was 5. The neglect is orderly acceptable. We cannot keep doing that. So, and I just pray and say, because most of us are brought up in spirituality, what can I do? With everything that I've done here, I'm competing with a lot of things, and I know I have within me, I have something, just like the gentleman say, if you can dream it, you can do it. I watch Oprah a lot from her very first show, so I learned a lot, some of the things that she said. I was very young, and that just struck me. So when my mother died, in the condition that she died, the way she died, it was just the last straw. I'd say I need to do something. I was inspired because I cannot file a lawsuit. I cannot do anything. There's no accountability. I have to do something based on the training that I've gotten. If I identify a problem, I have to find some solution. The foundation is a campaign of compassion. I'm going literally to teach people how to be kind. Because I'm an educator, I'm going to teach benevolence and empathy. It's a long thing. I'm not going to get into that because I came here for the door. But one of the things that we're doing is I met this lady randomly because it always bothers me. I was in the United States for a very long time, almost 2 decades. I had not traveled to Cameroon. And when I went there, I was shocked that up to these days, even today, we dark-skinned people, our children are still playing with dolls that don't look anything like them. I'm not advocating race separation or anything, but any human being identity is set before they're 5 years old, boy or girl. So when you grow up and you look around you and everything that you're playing with like a doll, nothing look like you, that is setting something in your mind that would be difficult to take out. The proof is that there's a very, very alarming migration from Africa to the West. Why is that? We use a paintbrush, we say, oh, the politician, oh, the economics, oh. But I always question, why would people, highly educated people, would pay to be trafficked and die at sea for a chance to pick tomato in Italy, for example, for a chance to do literally utterly disgusting thing out of the country because they have lost that self-image. Somebody have sold you a dream. I mean, I was fortunate. I didn't leave a lot of things, but to me, the self-identity start from the beginning. So an idea of a doll, the simple fact that I was just disgusted. And when I say it, people say, wait, yeah, that's true. And over here, we've seen a lot of tests since the end of slavery. When they're doing tests, they're putting dolls, different color dolls. For boys and girls, they ask different children of various race to pick the prettiest doll. The black doll has never been picked, either by girl or by boy. Nothing. So it's not just the doll, it's not just for a girl, but it's for the young boy to also see that his sister is also beautiful. There's nothing wrong with being dark-skinned. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having your hair. They call our hair kinky. It's not kinky, it's natural. I'm actually a licensed cosmetologist too. And when I learned this, the black hair is called naturally curly hair. But the term was changed to say kinky to make us feel less. So the dolls, I love the lady, my lady, because I gave her the notice very late. She was going to be here. She made this doll. She makes this doll handcrafted. They're literally handcrafted, and it's the doll that a child can play with. You can see some dark-skinned dolls on the market. They're plastic. And we know anything that's coming out of China, there's no censorship, there's no, it could be toxic. Chances are it could be toxic. And little kids literally are eating it and chewing on it. This is something that you can wash. I have the material. I traveled to Cameroon and I went because the idea is to do this locally. Here is very expensive. And I already contacted company I have the stuffing. It's just the things like you make the mattress with. And then I contacted the local textile company for the fabric to use the Cameroonian textile to make the clothing. And the hair is just the braided, as you can see this one. I had one that looked like me, but she sold it. So it's the hair, naturally braided hair. Sometimes it's just like the afro. And this is something a little child, and when we make it for our society, we're not gonna put a lot of things, we're not gonna put the paint because for safety, because I just met this person, I'm giving her my criteria, how I want this to be done. So we're gonna use all fabric. These are safe material for children because you can put this in the crib. So the idea is to do this, pollute the continent and anywhere where we have dark-skinned people with images of stuff that look like them, because we need to, it's my little contribution. I'm not an economist. I'm not gonna discuss I'm an educator, I'm a parent. So I know the self-image start at a very young age. So the idea is anybody can invite us in the community and we teach you the technology, the what is literally free, but since we are non-profit, we ask that you're gonna bring us, the lady and I were in partnership. We come and you select like your five most, the people you want them to learn the technology. We're there, you take care of us for 2 weeks, and we go back, and whatever you do as manufacturing is up to you. And we, the organization requires simply that you make a donation at the end of the year. Each year we can come, you make a donation to like Children's Hospital and to villages where little kids don't have any dolls to play with. So that's my time, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present it. And my name is Marlies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Malise. I do appreciate that. All right, I want to also make this very clear that if you listen to that expression, it was not an object of racism or anything, but an understanding and appreciation of who we are and who you are. It's a situation where that the mind of a child is built and developed on the nature of what the eye sees. The tabula rasa, medulla of a child, takes paintings from that young age that never goes away. I tell you, I can still remember a whole lot of what happened to me when I was very young. More than what just happened to me a year ago. It's amazing that the mind of a child retains better than that of an adult. And so the concept, I presume, is to ensure that the mind of the child is not messed up at that early age, giving you an inferiority complex of what your color and your skin look like. As far as I am concerned, skin doesn't change who you are. Your mind, as long as it is developed, be white or black, be green or green, as long as you develop your mind, you can attain anything and go anywhere. That is my mindset. But that being said, does not take away the fact that some people lose who they are by reason of low self-esteem. And they begin to compare themselves with other people or other colors and begin to believe that something or someone else is better than they are. But that being said, we are only trying to promote our culture. We are trying to promote the fact that black is beautiful. We are trying to promote the fact that black is competitive. It doesn't matter what, as long as you are open to developing yourself. And how can you do that? By reading, by studying. You get enlightened and exposed. And we hope that that can be achieved. Thank you, Malise. We appreciate it. In the same vein, we also have some other person I want to present to us right now. I'm just giving him 5 minutes to make a presentation. He's someone who has just journeyed all the way from New York, has been on the road and just arrived a few minutes ago. I really appreciate your courage, sir. It was a long trip, but I'm glad you're here. He just wants to give a brief presentation to us because we are running short of time and we have other things that are waiting. The authors are yet to present their work, and that is basically the core of what we are here. But that we will do. But let me just give him that privilege right now because he's already here. Please join me as I welcome Elder Moses T. Taba Jensen. Please give me a round of applause. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you, family. Thank you. I thank God to join you this afternoon. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Moses T. Jensen. That means Moses T. Taba. They teach me T. Taba, African name, from Liberia. And very importantly, I want to know whether any Liberia delegate or beside me. Liberia. Any Liberian join you before I came? Anybody from Liberia? No. I'm there. I am blessed. We come from New York. came with a friend in Beverly Hall, see back there. She's here with me. And my motivation for this organization, of course, I'm now a senior citizen, and I have an organization called Immigrant Information Center. But even when I was a child, there was something that had been troubling me in Liberia from my childhood. There was history that I was reading in the school. We always say the free slave from America from Liberia. The free slave from America from Liberia.
Yeah.
Which is the truth. But when the free slave go there now, they didn't eat anybody on the ground. Even we believe that there was some ants, there was an animal too on the ground. So why the history didn't include it? I myself, we read history. Somebody from America came, a grandparent, this and that, blah, blah, blah. That kind of history we've been reading, which is impunity. And up to now, the reason why I ask the question, because this organization is all work on the internet. And I know that Liberian professor too, that in the United States, they are reading about the organization. I would just a layman in the corner, in my corner, I pick an interest right away. I say, my God, I got to go to the organization. They particular great people. So that I will market the idea of rewriting Liberian history.
Yes.
That's a project I brought to the organization. Because why? Liberia history was written in Pennsylvania University in the United States and imported in Liberia. So the people themselves, that's why the indigenous Liberian, they was not incorporated. Can you imagine that kind of history? Yeah. The history? So when you ask about the fundamental, what is the trouble in Liberia? What is the real trouble in Liberia? Some group of people say, my parents from America, so I cannot migrate and integrate. So those groups that say my parents from America, up to this present time, they are the petty bourgeoisie, and they have been rich people children. And now, when the military take over in 1980 in Liberia, then another constitution came say, identify 16 tribes. So my family tell me, the one that from 1847 constitution doesn't recognize no native. Then when the military take over, the military says, oh, I mean, we have a tribe here, and we have a culture. So when you are looking for troublemaker in your house, the one who say, you're a child. So I'm so blessed that I'm still alive and to be connected. There are a lot of work for this institution so that my idea here is fantastic people are here so that Liberia history will be rewritten. A lot of research will be done in the Pennsylvania University on Liberia. Free slave that went to Liberia. And that's what I'm here. The Secretary General, the Executive Director, I make all my proposal, they will make correction, and the committee will go through that. But I come to this particular government body so that, fantastically, Liberia, even I already sent a message to the President of Liberia that Liberia history will be written. That's my own idea. And they so wholeheartedly, they are so happy about that for the generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tay. Thank you, Mr. Thank you. You see, if you listen to Mr. Jensen, you will garner very succinct information that expresses the diversity and the distortion of information about the origin of Liberia, about the combination of tribes in Liberia. But what they are trying to do is to rewrite the historic facts about Liberia. And they have contacted us and they said they wanted to be part of this house, that we all together can look at it, understand the true situation, and begin to rewrite as authors with deep understanding to be able to retell this story. And we hope that all things being equal, we'll begin to view this and see how well we can retell this story. Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate you. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really look forward to doing that. That was why we asked them to please come. When we got the email and expressed what they wanted to do, we said it is necessary that they come and we understand, and then as authors, we can begin to rub minds and begin to do our own research as well, and to strategize and strengthen this information and see where we can put it out there. Because we need our young ones to begin to understand exactly who they are. Because so many history out there are just not true. They only told us what they wanted us to know. But thank God we have come of age and we now want to rediscover who we are. In Africa, in my culture, there's an adage that when a child is not grown up enough and wants to find out what killed his or her parents, whatever killed his or her parents will kill that child. Yes. But when that child comes of age and becomes a mature man, then he can stand foot to foot, shoulder to shoulder, and be able to find out what happened. And I think that is where we've come to right now. And we are beginning to look back, to rediscover who we are. We'll see how this goes in the future. Thank you, Mr. Jensen. I appreciate that. So as we continue, before we move to the authors, once again to relax this house a little bit, once again we want to bring on stage our sister, Mercy Allo. You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. I think everybody's ready now to dance. This time, feel free, shake, move, walk around a little bit, get your circulation going, and get some little energy. It's been a wonderful day so far. Chidimma.
This is Mercy Ngozi-Allo. Come on, everybody, let us praise the Lord. Parce que mon Dieu, il est mieux. C'est pour lui, je fais la chanson. And when we praise the name of the Lord, all our worries,
Them go scatter. Chima Jojo, and I come on away, I jump on a Chima Jojo, oh yeah, show you the mama, don't be late. I'm what Chima of the Male, I'm gonna Chima, Chima of the Male, I'm gonna Chima, Chidima, 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 Chidima.
the Lord has been good to you. Follow me, say.
It's okay.
And I come on the wale, jump on a Chima Jojo, and I come on the way, jump on a Chima Jojo, on your name, Mare, show your name, Mama, don't be late. I'm a Chima of the Male, I'm gonna Chima. Chimara bimare, adule chima, chidima, 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 chidima. Chima Jojo, and I come on the way, Jomana Chima Jojo, on your name, Mary, join your name, Melody, don't be fair. Uncle Chima of the Malay, I go to Chima, Chima of the Malay, I go to Chima, Chidima, 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 Chidima. Imela, 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 Imela.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we're moving on to the next stage. The synopsis that I'm going to give to you will be able to give you an idea of what it is. But right now, before I call on the first author, any of those copies and read up the details behind, but the authors that are here right now will come forward one after the other, and they will all begin to present their books. For the first author, please join me as I welcome on this podium, Ms. Sally Eko.
Thank you. Yeah, before I talk, my name is Sally Eko, and I came here to study when I was 18. I went to the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. I read finance. Then I went back to Africa. I worked in a bank for some time. Then my kids, when they grew up, they wanted to come to America because America is everybody's dream. So my daughter came here, I won't sleep. Mommy, it's hard as you said. I said, well, I told you. So I had to move myself and come back here and stay with them for them to finish their college. That's why I'm here. And before I left Africa, when I was a young lady, America was the best country in the world. It's a dream everybody wants to come to. Even now, people die every day to come here. And my impression was slavery has gone, everybody was equal with everybody else. But I'm surprised that slavery is gone, but the difference in the way people live, the blacks live separately, the white live separately, that was, disappointed. Then I realized that, they are trying to integrate, but integration takes a long time. Then, though we are in Africa, most of the things I knew in life is about Western world. In school, they teach about America, Europe. We hardly talk much about ourselves, which is Africa. So by the time, like he said, by the time we grew up, we want to come to America because that's what we want to know. I knew more about snow than the hot and wet climate I have in Africa. So when I came here, I realized that we have to take control of ourselves to know who we are. Even Black Americans, they don't know about Africa, and they are part of us. So it just bothered me to write a book, and the title of my book is Being Black, Not Much Has Changed, Then, Now, and the Way Forward. What I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to be a racist, because most of my best friends are white people. Believe me, my daughter's godmother is a white lady from Illinois. We used to go to the village. I love white people. I don't hate people. I don't hate anyone. I love everybody. But for some reason, some people for some reason think because of their color of skin, they are better than we are. But we are not. We are all the same human beings. And if you look at Africa, you can live on the street without a house and you will survive for 365 days. Nothing will happen to you. Correct. You can't do that. Even last time, you couldn't sleep outside here. You'll be dead. So they say necessity is what? The mother of invention. We didn't have problems. God spoiled Africans. Yes, we were spoiled. So we didn't have we don't have any worries. We don't think about anything because everything is there for us. But in the Western cold countries, they have to worry. They have to worry about the snow. So that made them start to be more thinkers than we are. So if you look at the difference in life, is the situation they find themselves. Okay, look at them. They moved from Europe to where? They came here because they needed a place to be. So if you look at Africans and white people, it's the environment which mold people. And that's what I have in my book, is the environment. Not that we are stupid or anything like that, we are not. But when like a spoiled child, if a child gets everything, she doesn't worry, right? Just like the way we are, God spoiled black people. She gave us the sunshine, she gave us food, she gave us a river. So we don't have any room to worry. Even still, we still do the same way. But it's about time we raise our head. It's about time we start doing something for Africa. You know, we leave Africa and run away and come and say, people build this country. America was built by human beings. Why can't we build Africa? Why can't Africans build Africa? If we build Africa, well, we have Black Americans, we have in the Caribbean, they're Africans too. If we build Africa, well, they'll be coming to Africa to visit. But we are not building Africa. We neglect Africa and run here. Only build this place. Why can't we put ourselves together and build Africa? That's what my book is all about. And Africans, whether we are Black Americans, we are the Caribbean, we are one people. We are just one people. There's no difference between us. Even the languages, if you are across the border, like my brother was saying, it's the same. I'm Yoruba. We have some Yorubas in Benin. And you know, we are all united. If you go deep, people moved. We all moved from Central Africa. That's where we migrated from. That's where most Black Africans migrated. We moved to different parts. So we are all the same people. And if you, like somebody, I read somewhere about a week ago that they even traced that the mother of all humanities is from Africa. They did what do you call it? DNA testing, yes. And they realized every human being, whether you are white, you are pink, we are all from Africa. Just recently. Yes. That's about 2 weeks ago. Yes. So let's love each other. Color has nothing to do with it. Green apple, red apple, yellow apple. Are they not apples? Why human beings we are creating problems? We just keep creating unnecessary problems for ourselves. We are all humans. We do one thing. We have kids, they grow, we die. We do the same thing every day. We sleep, we wake up. So let's stop this hatred of one race being bigger than the other and love each other. But the more we love each other, the more peace we have in this world. And that's what my book is all about. We are all interrelated. So get this book and read about humanity, that we are all one people and one person. Even in the Christian, I'm not a Christian, but in the Christian, I read the Bible too, I'm not a Christian. They believe Adam and Eve gave birth to all of us, right? That's what the Christians say. So if you are from the same mother, the same family, why don't we love each other? If I love green apple and I love blue apple, why don't I like a black man and a black woman? We are all human beings. And we have one world. It's only one world we all have, we are all sharing. They say we want to move to Mars, but we're not there yet. But let's love each other on this one earth we have, and let's be with people. That's what my book is all about. Thank you very much. It's on Amazon.com. It's on Amazon.com. It's also in Barnes & Noble. You can buy it. It's a good book. I started from the 13th century when we were in Africa before, because we were doing very well in Africa. We have empires, we have kingdoms. So by that time, unfortunately, the whites were having problems. People, there was, famine. People were dying. So when they stumbled on Africa and they saw the way we are, they said, what? We are suffering, these people have, they have, and we are very kind. Believe me, the black man is very kind. I might not have, but if you come to me, I will give you what I don't have for you to be happy, and that's what we are. So we were taking advantage of our kindness. So this is what I'm saying, we are all the same human beings. Let's love each other. Don't say we are white or black, we are all human beings. So let's love each other, and this one word God gave us, let's share it. It's enough for us to stay in. So let's love each other and have this wonderful word God gave us. That's what I want to say about my book. If you want to know more about it, buy the book. It's on Amazon.com. It's $40, but it's worth it. It started from 13th century in Africa, came to America, and it's all over. So let's get this book and read it, so we can know and love each other instead of the hatred world we live in now. Thank you very much. That's what I want to say.
Please join me as I welcome Obikwama for the next presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our Secretary General has just hit what I wrote in my book, hit it at the heart of my topic. But I'm not going to take long. I don't talk too much. This is my book. The title is The Case for Biafra Restoration. With Biafra, Africa Rises. One of my friends I met here, when he saw the topic, he said, oh, you have the courage to write something like that. Not everybody has courage to write a topic like that. because it is not a popular topic to some people. Okay. But if you give me truth and popularity, I will take the truth. Sometimes the truth is not popular, but we have to say the truth, regardless. Somebody said, oh no, we are big, we are fine, we are big enough, we are fine the way we are. Even though that people are being murdered every day without nobody talking about it. It is not how big, but how efficient. Nigeria is about 200 million people. What do they have to offer? Nothing. You don't have any roads. There are no roads, no good schools, no hospitals. If the so-called leaders, if they are sick, they fly over to London or America to come and take treatment, while the poor people die in poverty. And you are telling me that everything is fine. So, and you're telling me, oh, we are let's hang on like that. It's a big country, we manage. No, that is African mentality. You need to do what is right. I don't buy that. I only speak the truth. That's it. You read my book? There are all the facts here. 3.5 million people were murdered from 1967 to 1970, and the world kept silent. Second, genocide. Second to Holocaust. Jewish Holocaust of 6 million. And nobody's talking. Rwanda, 400,000 died. It was 1994. It's all over the world. We lost because British was a member of the United Nations, permanent member. He closed every chapter. Over 1.3 million children were starved to death. No food. We are blockaded. I was a child that time. I was in elementary school. I witnessed it. That's why I read this book. Kwashoko, yes. That's when they say Kwashoko, children with big bellies all over the internet.
Protein malnutrition.
They died. The bombers, they go to the hospitals, they go to marketplaces, they bomb everywhere. That's what they did. And the world kept silent. So, how can we manage to live in a country where we don't have hope? But Biafra, some people, when we tell them that Biafra is going to come, God told me to write this book. I'm telling you. He said, you should write it. I said, I have never written a book before. He said, well, you have to do it because those who write so many books started with one book. Yugoslavia was a country in Europe. Now, it used to be one before. Now, there are about 7 countries out of Yugoslavia. And you know what? Croatia is one of these countries. And when Yugoslavia was a country never reached a World Cup, last year, Croatia, one of the 8 countries out of Yugoslavia, made it to the World Cup and come second after France. And you're telling me we are big? Because we are big, we're going to be like that? Israel is only 7 million. But if there is a war between Nigeria and Israel, Nigeria will not last one day. No. They have the most efficient military system in the whole world. USSR used to be a country before, now there are 15 countries. And you're telling me that Nigeria is one that you cannot have a determination and let people vote to see whether it belongs or not. What Biafra is asking is for a vote whether they want to be in Nigeria or they don't want to be. As simple as that. It is not a rocket science. Give us a chance to vote, please. The Muslims in the north say, no, we're going to kill all of you. And if something is not done, in the next 10 to 20 years, they will not only Islamize the whole country, they will Fulanize and Islamize the entire country. It's happening right now as we speak, whether you want to believe it or not. Countries are made by a value system. That's something we call value system. If you don't have value system, you will not have an efficient system. You cannot have Muslims controlling. In fact, the laws of Nigeria, the constitution was written in for Arabs, for Arabics, for Muslims. Okay? The constitution of Nigeria is meant for Muslims. It's not meant for Christians. If you doubt what I'm saying, go and read the 1999 constitution. Okay? So, what I'm going to round up, I know some people are not comfortable. But look, during the Second World War, but you have to do the right thing. When you call that man, they start shivering. Oh, we don't want war again. Who wants war? Nobody wants war. But when somebody brings war to you, what are you going to do? Run away? Are you not have a right to defend yourself? So I'm gonna stop here. I thank you all for coming. Yeah, and I hope you get a copy of my book. Is actually the reason I wrote this book is not for us. For when Biafra comes, it's going to be one of the history books in the Biafra land. I will try to see what they're going to use it, because we need to tell our story. Nobody else is going to tell it if you don't tell it. It's on Amazon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Boma. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. Well, if you listened to that presentation, you will discover that, like the title said, the restoration of Biafra. Today, Biafra is just, it's not in an existing country or nation yet, but yet Biafra is alive in the heart of the Biafrans. Right about now, there is a serious move and march for the emancipation and the actualization of that. We are watching, we are waiting, we are looking, we are hoping. It's not new, it's not strange, it's not the first time. That's like Obi tried to elaborate. Across the globe, nations decide to move away for certain reasons that they need to move. In the 1700s, the United States, for certain reasons, decided to get off Britain. By reason of XYZ, we are no more comfortable with what's going on, and we want to have our own say. And they did. And today, the United States is a huge country on its own, giving the British government and system a run for their money. And someday Biafra too will. That being said, it's my pleasure.
Next state to Nigeria. So we became like a part of Nigeria.
We still maintain our identity, but we are still a part of Nigeria under British colonization. Now, this book that I've written is about a young man, a young English Cameroonian, who was so frustrated by the domination, marginalization, relegation of the English minority to second-class citizenship. For 58 years now, the English part of the country has been a slave, basically, for the French part of the country. The English forms 20% of the total population, and most of the wealth comes from the English part of the country. And if you know about the history of Cameroon, since the French part of the country, which is majority, got their independence from France, and France doesn't give their colonies real independence, they give a token independence. Do you know that today, France is receiving $500 billion a year from those 14 colonies that are colonized in Africa?
Yes. Really?
$500 billion every year. So those countries are not independent. Okay? What France did, said, okay, in 1959 pact with Charles de Gaulle of France, said, if you want independence, this is what you're going to do. We're going to give you the independence. But what we don't want, you take. But what we want, we get. That means whatever is subsoil belongs to us. Above soil, it belongs to us. Unless we don't want it, then you can have it. And so the presidents of those countries today are nothing but like governors for France. In any case, let's come to this story here. This young man was frustrated with the domination and relegation of his people to second-class citizenship. So he wanted to start a war. The minority English have nothing. How could you start a war with nothing? If you start a war, they're going to wipe you out. So instead of stubbornly pursuing that concept of starting a war, he chose to come to America. He chose to come to America because he thinks that when he comes to America, he will seek the green pastures, he will become a wealthy man, start a big business that he's going to bring back and bring the changes that he wants on his own region where he comes from. That is the concept of this book. All right? So he comes here, and I'm not going to give you the details of how he came here with $30, how he became homeless at some times, how he impersonated being a prince in order to be given admission in a university, how he found himself all the way in the streets of Chicago, how he managed to go through school, and how he found himself in California, Los Angeles, and how he formed that big company to become a formidable business enterprise, which is along the way, after that, which is he's going to bring all his kinsmen to America, train them to become entrepreneurs, and go back and bring the change that he wants in his homeland. That is one part of the story. That's the main core of the story. Now, when I was done with that story, I realized that, hey, if I just let this story stay in itself or by itself, it would be a good story. Everybody would like reading it. But then I want to say something. I want the world to know about what is going on in Cameroon today. So the timeline for that book, the first part of the book, was from 1985 to 1995. When he started this business after that, during that 1995 period. Now, I've fast forwarded it to 2016 to now, from 2016 to now. Now, remember that I went home to Cameroon in 2016. I wasn't going to come back. I had started a huge oil palm plantation which I was going to supervise and help bring change to my people. All right? But then I left in 2017 because of the civil war that has ensued. How did it start? In 2016, the English minority were already fed up of this marginalization, relegation to second-class citizens, being treated as if they were animals. And yet, most of the wealth comes from them. 60% of GDP of Cameroon comes from the English minority Cameroons. But they see no change. The roads are terrible. Everything is terrible. The businesses that they had started, the French Cameroon said, no, these businesses, you must transfer them all to the French part of the country. There was nothing these guys could do. And so, all along, the French have been wanting to assimilate. They have been assimilating the English minority to become French. Because Mitterrand, the former French president, told the former president of Cameroon to assimilate this minority English, make them to become French, so that they could easily now exploit the resources. Remember that in 1961, the French Cameroons and the English Cameroons merged to become one country by the United Nations. So in 1972, when France realized that English Cameroons had oil, they told the president of the country, of course, who is a French-speaking man, that he should merge this country now into one, so that now they can have access to resources that we have in the English Cameroons. And that's what they did. And there was nothing the minority English guys could do. So in 2016, the French brings judges, francophone, we call it francophone, anglophone. They bring francophone judges to the English part of the country, and the judges now are French-speaking, but they want to judge their cases in English. Impossible. And then they told the minority, the lawyers, to be presenting their cases in French. Now, and these cases are being judged in the English-speaking territory. That can work. The lawyer said, we're not going to do that. Secondly, the teachers. They bring in French-speaking teachers to come and teach the English people, the English children, English. Now, how could you be a French-speaking guy, you want to teach my children English when you don't even understand English? So now, 2016, November, just like this very, very month, the lawyers and the teachers now protested peacefully. The government came down high-handedly. They arrested them and beat them up mercilessly. People now start running to bushes, to everywhere. The teachers say, okay, we're going on strike. So as they went on strike, the government was so pissed off, they started breaking into houses, the army and the police, raping women, children, everything. So now the boys who are now working, the boys in the streets say, we have enough of this. We're going to form our own army and fight you. That is why today there is a war going on in the English-speaking part of the country, which they call themselves, the English speakers call themselves Amazonians. That is what is going on. Now, once they engage the army and they kill some of the soldiers, what happens is the soldiers cannot fight them. If they don't kill them, then they run and start shooting and killing civilians. So they see anybody going around anywhere without a gun or anything, they just start shooting. So they start burning houses. So the burn house, if you are unable to leave, too bad, you get burned in the house. They rape children everywhere. So now there are about 100,000 refugees in Nigeria. We have about 1.5 million internally displaced, so many in the forests, and so on. So this book is all about that. It gives a chronological history of what happened from 2016 to today. And there is also a website that you can go in there and see the genocide itself going on. So this book is about to educate the American population about the genocide that is going on in Cameroon. Yes.
Once again, the book is titled The Blessed Country. The Blessed Country. Now, I encourage you to please go online and look for a copy and get details of the book. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's very pathetic to hear these stories of the ills that is being been going on in Africa and that is still going on in Africa. As it were, it used to be the ills masterminded by the colonialists. But today, we are still going through that pain, even amidst ourselves, by reason of the mindset that is still drawn from where we are coming from. And it's unfortunate. I just pray that someday all this will end. It comes down to the same issue of man and humanity to man, even when we're all the same people. Because you're French speaking, then you think you can lord it over the minority English speaking. Too bad. While Lawrence was speaking, a very good friend of the house just walked in. It's my pleasure to recognize the presence of Brian Ojibe. Brian, you're welcome. Honorable Brian. Tuale, sir. Tuale. Thank you very much, Lawrence. Next on the line, it's my pleasure to welcome Mercy Alo for her presentation quickly. Thank you, Mercy. While George gets ready.
Oh my goodness, a lot of things going on in Africa. My inspiration to write is when I did my bachelor's in English. I kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do for a little while there. Even though I enjoy telling stories, creative work and things like that, I ended up going into the business area. So I did my MBA, but it was human resource management. And then I went on to say, hey, I want to work on this PhD, healthcare management. So where do I stand? Guess what? It's one knowledge channeled in different directions that are related. And I was just thinking about this when I heard some of the presentations here about what is really happening in Africa. And I thought, we talk about racism and things that need to be fixed in the world. We have something in Africa called tribalism. I don't know if this is something in human nature where there always has to be some kind of benchmarks to determine who is worthy of scarce resources more than the others. And I don't know, maybe this is a part of what is happening. My book, I have one that's almost done with a company out of London. It's really self-publishing. And then the first one was also self-published, and it's called Halima, and then the other one is No Longer Apart. This is, I would say, fictional reality. It's like, I'm imagining what would the ideal situation look like if we really didn't have tribalism and all of these things. I don't know if I'm being realistic or I'm just kind of dreaming, But it's storytelling. So I tell a story of a young man called Nana. Nana in the Igbo language of West Africa means grandfather. So we're talking about following his story from the village to how he starts going to school, how he goes through the different rites of passage, kind of trying to balance both the cultural aspect of things and then the new westernization as well. And this is, I think, where a lot of Africans find themselves. And then we had parents who still believed in the old ways, which is, if somebody is sick, they can go to the hospital to get treatment. But there's a certain level where things get to and you have to ask the native doctor or go to the medicine man or the herbalist, and then, he eventually marries from another tribe. I don't know, somebody told me some years ago, a professor said something to me, I don't like the word tribe, just say ethnic group. So, and I've thought about this. Actually, there's something primitive and just like savage about the word tribe. I don't know if this is just, but ethnic group kind of has some definition to it, like an organized group of people who have a cultural heritage. So this book has a lot of vivid stories. I'm going to read just a little paragraph out of it, you know. It's on Google. That's Halima. Also, no longer apart. It's going to, you know, be the same thing. You'll find it Barnes and Noble, Amazon, whatever books. If you Google I use my middle name as well. So Messi Ngozi Alu. You'll see different links to take a look, and then there's some previews as well. You know. So there's African proverbs, there's African stories. So certain characters in the story at some point tell a story. So it's like a story in a story. And I try to bring to life the African village scene. This is the very beginning, okay, just a little bit here. It was evening in the village of Obodo. Now in Igbo language, Obodo means village or town, right? So it's like village or town towns. There's a lot of symbolism as well in this. The last rays of the sun could be seen fading gently across the horizon. Women and children were busy preparing the evening meal, while the men sat around drinking palm wine or sniffing ground tobacco. A few stragglers were still returning from the farms in groups. Women with bundles of cassava stems balanced delicately on their heads, while the men carried matchets and ropes. Obidi, called the village postman, could be seen on his rickety old bicycle, dutifully delivering letters. He was always dressed in brown khaki shorts and a crisp white shirt and tie. Those are some of the things, you know, village headmaster, postman, those are things that we saw growing up. Now, I can't go over different things, but this is the final line in first 5 pages or something like that. So something happened when there was a celebration, and people were wondering what could have brought this about and how they could fix it. And it goes into the next chapter where we have wrestling match, things like that. So quite interesting. So anyway, this is just a few lines of that. So let me go and feed this child. He's getting very restless. As the woman Udoka turned to go, she stumbled over something and found her son Yafo still tied to her back. The woman with the laughter died down, and no shouts of alarm ran through the air as people ran to her aid. The child had hit his head very hard on the ground and was rushed off to the local medicine man immediately. As the crowd dispersed, there were mixed emotions. A few attributed the accident to the overexcitement of the evening, while a few more shrewdly suspected that there was more to it than what met the common eye. How else could it be explained that such unrestrained happiness should be dampened so suddenly? If it wasn't an evil omen, what else could it be? So we do that in Africa a lot. Whatever is going on, there's a witch in the village, there's some kind of someone, you know, conjuring up somebody in a mirror somewhere. There's evil arrows. And then the worst one that I really detest is ancestors. And I said this in like the other book. A lot of times we spend a lot of times binding our ancestors, canceling their curses upon us, you know, trying to disconnect ourselves. And this is part of why we don't have a lot of history, even going back for generations, that we feel proud to hear about and talk about. Why would our ancestors be cursing us? How are we here today if they didn't know how to feed their children, take care of them, and let them also grow up? There's a lot of problems things that have happened in Africa, but the mentality that people have towards ancestors, things of tradition, you know, I think it's something that needs to change. We have superstition about the terrible things that are happening. We say it's because of ancestral curses, because of the bad things they did. Well, guess what? I discovered that even in Europe, there was medicine that was actually made from the body, like corpses. There's a kind of medicine they would actually grind up human flesh, and people would ingest that to cure different things. There's been wars in Europe, all kinds of stuff. What about the slave trade? But nobody sits down and says, hey, you know, the monarchy in Britain and some of the other monarchies, they used to intermarry among themselves because they weren't about to marry a non-royal. And so we would call it incest today. We would call it incest. Well, guess what?
Read and have a feel of exactly what it feels like to be African, what it looks like to live in Africa. But basically, these are all right. Yeah, shares about $10 for those books. So,
Dr. Iti, you have to write a book called African Mindsets.
Yeah.
Next year, I want to see the book, African Mindsets.
You got it.
It's it will make a good reading. I might as well this evening be the only poet here. And if you like, you can add the only African poet. I like to use that term to describe myself because truly I claim to be a poet because I like poetry. Now, whether what I write will make sense to you or not, you're going to be the judge. So I'm going to read two of my poems from the book titled The Wild Winds of Africa. I'm redesigning the cover. Hopefully, it's going to be re-edited and hopefully it will find itself in your hand one day by your benevolence. The first one is titled The Untold Story. Does listening make the mouths of politicians rattle and convulse when we are seeking for answers to the questions our children are asking? Does lying make the lips of career politicians curve like the head of an arrow? Why do their deceptive faces turn into a glowing moon when they are asking for our votes? How do I tell the story of our looted lands to our children? What do I tell our children darkened the face of the African sky? How do I tell our children that there is no truth in the long and colorful sermons the politicians drum into our ears every day? When will I finish telling the story of the woes of the African child in my weeping poems? That is one. I don't know if it makes sense to you or not. But, you know, one thing about writing, if you look at people who have been here, you see they are very passionate in what they write. Talk to Salieko, he will dig up the historical facts that a lot of us don't know about our blackness. Talk about Ukwama, and he's going to tell you that ain't nothing like Biafra. And of course, I love the fiction that Dr. Ono Mesialo, the fictions that she tried to. I was so surprised, as young as she is, that she knows anything about the culture of Africa. All right, the next poem is Under Siege. It's not a fable. African roots are withering, and her lips are dying before our eyes. It's not a fable. Africa fell into dangerous hands the day the weed of tyranny sprouted on her soil. Africa fell into hands sharpened by greed, hands that crush like sledgehammers. Now her body is full of scars, and the hearts of her children have become the sacrificial altar where the wild wings of every tyrant leave their ugly and painful marks. Even her bruised face has become the old wall where corrupt politicians engrave their lies and their vile names. It is not a fable. Africa is under siege. Thank you.
Wow, wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. If you listen carefully to those two poems, you will discover that Africa as a continent has gone through terrible challenges and changes, and is still being lied to. They lied to us from the beginning. He just gave me a book title, The African Mindset. And that is true. According to Messiala, when she was talking about the causes and ancestry and all that. But those were part of the lies that came into our environment. And they made us to believe that our ancestors were evil. They made us believe that nothing good was coming out of Africa, but only if you believed in their own religion and in their own understanding. But that being said, if you listen to that poem, you hear that Africa has been under siege. Siege of tyranny, siege of corruption, siege of greed. But I bet you, as we begin to raise a new generation of leaders with a different mindset, things will change. Unfortunately, there's been an amazing brain drain from Africa. Africans exodusing seriously to the West. And when they get over to the Western world, they begin to live, in fact, not just second-class citizens, but as something less. Sometimes even when they come, they don't even know what to do and how to go about it. But join me as I welcome the Executive Director, Chinedu Mego, for his presentation about his book that talks about immigrants. Chinedu, you're welcome.
I will still have to welcome some of our friends and fans and that just walked in. Please, you are welcome, and get something to eat and drink, and then part of us, welcome. My book is Immigration to Citizenship of the United States of America, Your Resource Guide, and the book is simply a welcome guide to immigrants. Having thought about what immigrants go through from far places to come to another country to settle and succeed, they need to have some expectations of what is on the ground for them, and responsibilities too of where they are going to. So that's why the book is more of a technical book to really help immigrants integrate successfully into the newfound nation wherever they are. And it's not just for Africans, but wherever they are coming, based on where they are coming to, which is the United States of America. That's why it's based on, it's about U.S. guys. Because some immigrants come in, and what they used to know in their other countries are not what they're going to find here. Driving, social security, benefits, time change, time zones, and different types of workplace issues. So that is what the book is all about, just to help them integrate successfully. Because the idea came about having had my first degree in psychology. Then I started working in the hospitals where we take care of behavioral health patients. Every day we work, we want to help these patients not just cure them or heal them, but be able to go back to the communities and be successful, do what they are supposed to do as every other human being. No exception. Then I thought about, how about immigrants that are still coming in here with almost vague idea of what is waiting for them on the ground. I just mentally compared these two groups of people as one. They need help too, just as the people I work for. So that was why I thought about this and said, this is going to be a helpful guide for them, no matter, I know it's very, very, it's concise, but the facts are very huge, because it is something like, okay, for instance, immigrants come in here and depend on, okay, whatever they read, whatever they know, but mostly for, family and friends. They depend on family and friends to help them. In most cases, these family and friends are busy, working, 2-4-7. 7 to 11, 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7, and sometimes 2 jobs. So how can they have something like a small, guide? This can fit into a pocket. That's what I thought about, and said, so that they can at least read a little bit about it and hear some other information and then get involved. So based on that, it's $20 right there on that table over there, and then that's the story about this book.
Thank you.
Moving from that 2017 to 18 to 19, and our members have been so great, and I just want to briefly recognize some of these our members that have been really pushing from all angles. When I call this name, please help me. I'm borrowing for today. You are providing multiple perspectives today to hand over this to them, okay? Yeah. Charles Uti, please, if you are here, come around. Yeah. I will sign it at the end of this process. It has been really wonderful working with these members, and next year, you haven't seen nothing yet. Next year is going to be, how do they put it sometimes? Something different. Okay, Obi Okwama.
Thank you.
We have Franklin Obiagwo in Nigeria. He's the regional coordinator there right now, so we will just keep this for him, or maybe leave it here. We will give it to him later on. Yeah. Or Charles, receive this for Franklin. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Receive it for Franklin Obiagwo in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Is Sally Eko here?
Oh, yes.
Okay. After the voting, or as we are voting, please, I will go ahead and sign all these things for you. Sally Eko. The story of Sally Eko is too much. I have Mercy Alu here. Is Mercy Alu? She must have stepped out. Okay. She must have stepped up. And Cornelius Ejimafo. Okay. You have to receive for him too. Or somebody else.
Okay. Who will receive for Cornelius? Come on, receive it. I want to receive for Cornelius. Is your number?
Oh, you.
So that can get her. Oh, her phone not here. Phone not here.
Okay, Cornelius Ejumafo. Yeah, as you can see, Cornelius Ejumafo actually won the Outstanding Book Prize of last year, 2018. So we are now going to see who is going to win this one by God's grace, and then that person will be in the magazine and then good certificate. So please, if Mercy Aloysia, please come to this front. Mercy Alo, come over here. We've been pursuing fundraising so seriously. So as I said earlier, any of us that really want somebody, a philanthropist, an organization that can help us with funding for our programs, Mercy Alo is very good at that, to follow up. So please help us direct those informations to her so that we can do a lot of things for Africa. And we are ready, but we need some help too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. The voting will begin. It has already commenced because we didn't want to lose out on members or friends who were present but who were running out. So we let them vote while they were leaving. So by those of us that are still here, you've heard about the books, you've listened to the authors. Whichever one that makes more meaning to you, which you presume should be the winner among all the books and information you've garnered. Just all you need is just the name of the book. They're all there behind you, or the author, whichever one is acceptable. It won't what makes sense to you, the name of the author or the name of the book. But most likely we'll prefer the title of the book. That will show that you understand what you say. So the title of the book, just write the title of the book and just drop it in this ballot box. And then before here we'll count, and which one that receives the most recommendation will be the winner of this year's book prize. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Miss, she's always in there.
Always in the house.
Yeah. Yes, with
For who? Okay. You have let your mom come do it. No, that's okay. You don't already. Yes. All right, go ahead, ma'am. Good. There we go.
Early election is good.
I didn't know my name, right?
No, you don't need name.
Okay.
Just the author of the book. No, one man, one vote. All right, who's left? Who is left? Has everybody voted? No. If you have not voted, please, can I see your hand? Okay. I will still waiting for someone.
Only from 18 years.
Thank you. So the counting starts now. Please, all eyes here. Thank you. The case of Biafra. 1.
Give her time to write it.
Oh, okay. This is Sally Eko. That is, the title is Being Black.
Being Black.
Being Black. Nothing has not changed. No, then, now, and okay. 1.
You have to give her time to write. Just being black.
Being Black.
Being Black. Okay. 1.
Can I make it easier for us?
Okay.
Just on that table, can you sort out everything individually, being black, everything on being black, and then talent, and then give to them.
Okay.
We wanted to be sure that as we are counting, everyone is seeing. Let's count. All right? Yeah. Go ahead.
Spring.
Just read that.
What is this one? Spring Hill. This is someone's address. This is not the vote.
That's council.
This is our address, not the vote. Council. So that is it. Nullified. I don't know what that one is. That is -1 vote. Okay.
Behold the blessed country.
Behold the blessed country.
1.
Just okay. Oh.
This is blank. This is voided. Blank.
Down there.
How the brain functions.
How the brain functions.
Being black.
Being black. 2.
Behold the blessed country.
Behold the blessed country. 2.
The case of Biafra.
The case of Biafra. 2.
The case for Biafra.
The case for Biafra. 3.
The case for Biafra.
The case for Biafra. 4.
Connect USA. That's a new title.
Connect USA.
What does it mean?
I don't know what this is. There's no book like USA or Connect USA.
It means
Huh?
That's my book. It means Glonet. It's on the top, but it's the publisher. Glonet USA.
What?
Connect USA. Immigration. Glonet USA is my book.
Glonet USA.
So do you guys want to use it on something? Okay, we'll use it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you want to use it? I don't care.
Okay. 1. Obi Okwoma. Okay, that is the case of Biafra. That's the name of the author. Anyway, we'll deal with this in the coming year. We will insist on one model, the title of the book. In as much as the author and the book cannot be divulged, but we want to understand the title of the book. But this is for the case for Biafra.
Yes.
5.
Immigration book.
Immigration. 2.
Immigration to citizenship.
Immigration. 3.
The case for Biafra.
The case for Biafra. 6.
Immigration to citizenship.
Immigration. 4.
Obi Ikwonama.
Ukwoma, this is the case for Biafra. 7.
Immigration to citizenship.
Immigration. Immigration. How many do I have there? 5. Yes.
The case for Biafra.
The case for Biafra. 8.
The case for Biafra.
The case for Biafra. 9.
The case for Biafra.
The case for Biafra. 10.
Immigration of citizenship.
Immigration. 6.
Immigration.
Immigration. 7.
Immigration.
Immigration. 8.
Coming up. Book about the brain.
The brain. 2.
Immigration.
Immigration. 9.
Immigration.
Immigration. 10.
This is blank.
This is blank.
Immigration.
Immigration. 11.
Unoma.
The case for Biafra. 11. So there is a tie. So who's going to break this tie? Wow. Okay. Well, right now we have a belly bar. We don't have a tiebreaker. So unfortunately, my little girl will not be able to comprehend. If she could syllabically call a word, I would have allowed her to do that. Whatever book she calls, I will. Otherwise, I will give her the privilege to look at 2 books and to put her hand on which one.
Maybe we should do that.
Yes, but then she might not understand what she's doing and she might end up going back and forth. So at this point, it will be amazing to declare that the 2 books are the winners for this year. This is amazing. This is awesome. Wow. Wow. You know the amazing thing? The case immigration book has won it in the first edition. It's a beautiful work. It's still making waves. The case for Biafra, I remember last year was, I think the second was this first runner of last year. And this year, you are the winner. Wow, wonderful. This is awesome. Please, can we put our hands together for us again? This is great. Thank you, thank you. I want to say thank you everyone for being part of what we just did. This is where we want to get to in Africa. Absolute transparency in elections that will bring about sincere leadership. That's why we resolved to bring it to the fore and count it before all. Record the scores before all. It is before everyone, and we see how awesome it is. We hope that in the coming year, we have a new winner will emerge, or winners. Their books, we just sent it over, but I guess people were concentrating on the presentations that they heard. But we are soliciting that members attend and make their presentations formally. That leaves the impression in the hearts of the people. Professor Haruto just stepped in and she got 2 votes. And that is awesome. I guess she didn't have enough time to express her work. If you saw her presentation 2 years ago, she did a vivid presentation to show you how the brain functions. It's amazing. It's beautiful. But that being said, I want to say thank you everyone for participating in this voting. So for 2019, the outstanding book prize goes to the immigration book and to the case of Biafra. Thank you. So can I have Obukwama and
the
Yes. No, I need a lot. Thank you. Now, behold, the winners of 2019 Outstanding Book Prize. Like we said, right now we don't have award or cash to give to them, but we just want to appreciate them for their work. We want to appreciate the effort they put in writing this work. We want to appreciate their presence here. And as we go forward, it is going to remain in the annals of history that when the time comes that resources will begin to come in to award, to appreciate you financially, to keep doing what you're doing, we won't forget that you're there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And God bless you. You're welcome. Thank you. We come to the rounding up part of this year's summit. 2019 has been an amazing year. If you go through my piece in the magazine, which under the editor's desk, I try to chronologize the achievements of 2019 and how far we have come from 2017 to this point. The association is marching forward. 2019, we made amazing giant strides. In this same year, the association has replicated itself in Nigeria. Today we have IAAAS Nigeria, and that is how it's going to spread to Cameroon, to Ghana, to Gambia, to Kenya, all over Africa. One country, one city at a time. In 2019, we began the process of the leadership and development seminars to begin to train the future generation. And like I alluded when I was talking based on the diagram we have behind, now we are looking forward to the establishment of the Institute for Leadership and Development. This same year, we opened up frontiers with African embassies in the United States as partners to ensure that what we are fighting for does not end in this room, but that the countries get to understand and appreciate what we are doing. So the ambassadors of all the countries in Africa are aware of what we are doing. Most of them were supposed to be here, but how their schedules can be. But what is important is that they know we exist, they know what we are fighting for, and they are in support. We trust that in the coming year, they will be here because now there is a forum that is set out for them. We call them the Ambassadors Forum. By 2020 gathering, the first day is not going to be a day event anymore. It's going to be a 3 days event. The first day of the event is for the ambassadors. The Ambassadors Forum is going to comprise all the ambassadors of Africa gathering here in Atlanta to talk about how the African continent that they represent in the United States, in line with our objectives, will move forward. Then you as country members can look your ambassador in the eye and tell them what you think it should be. They are representing you. They don't know everything. But when they hear from you, there shall be a dinner, a banquet, a gala night in the coming year. Then on the Sunday, the executive will now gather to evaluate what the journey so far. So we are trying to change the face of the association and how we are running it. And we want to appreciate everyone that has come from far and wide. Thanks to all the authors for your presentations. Beautiful work. We are looking forward to more work. I'm under great task right now that my work should be out by the next convention. The African mindset. Watch out for that. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you as you return to your homes and your different places of work. Tomorrow, all executives, all members are pleased enjoined to attend the evaluation meeting. Unfortunately, we don't have all the opportunities to meet in whole because we are scattered everywhere. I live in New York. But if we can use this opportunity tomorrow to sit and deliberate here, it would be amazing if we meet. We have scheduled the meeting. It's on your program. You can find it at the bottom. The meeting is going to hold between 1 and 3 p.m. Deliberate on the way forward. We have a whole lot set out for the coming year. If we can gather tomorrow between 1 and 3, that will do us a lot of good. Every member is encouraged to please attend. We've set this information earlier than now so that if you're booking your flight, you can make room. I had to schedule my flight to be able to leave on Monday morning to be sure that I am there. I pray and I please and join you. Let's all meet at that venue. 3551 Adams Landing Drive, Powder Springs. The time again remains 1 o'clock. Not African time, 1 on the dot. Let's commence so that we can finish at 3. So that anybody who wants to leave, if you booked your flight for 5 or 6, 7, you can still catch your flight. But please, the earlier we show up, the earlier we can get out. Please make it a point of duty to attend. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Now it's time for photographs. The meeting is over, but we need to take good photographs quickly, at least to commemorate this event and have memories and history.